Welcome, everyone, to episode 137 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we are talking about the new Luca Guadagnino movie, After the Hunt, and we'll talk a little bit about our experiences at the New York Film Festival. But first, as always, we could talk about what we watched this past week. Douglas, would you like to take it away?
Fuck. Yeah, no
Owen,
problem.
would you like to take it
No,
away?
I would like Doug to take it away.
I watched, so we talked about okay. So since then, I was at a different hotel at the beginning of this week, and
Hotel hopping.
Yeah. I on the TV, I like to put on a movie channel on the TV, but this hotel didn't have TCM, which is my preferred hotel channel to have on. Or no, not TCM. Yeah, Turner Classic Movies. Yeah. Anyways,
movies, yeah.
So I put on AMC, home of The Walking Dead.
They
had that was just on the hotel the whole time, and they were doing like horror movie marathons. So the first night I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street on the first one on cable TV with fucking with commercials, and that movie's really good. Wes Craven's like kind of a sick guy. There's so many. It's like that movie's interesting. You guys have both seen it, right?
Of course.
That movie's interesting because like it's not the most technically well-made movie in the world, right? Like Wes Craven, he's not like a formal god or whatever, you know, but it's like the idea is so strong, and Freddy Krueger is such a compelling character played by such like one of the great actors. And there's just like moments where it's like, oh man, it's not perfect, like the execution isn't perfect, but that's such a like stunning image. There's just a handful of stuff throughout that first movie. It's a really great movie.
There's a lot of tricks up the sleeve there. Well, that whole franchise has some good stuff in it.
The third one,
I really like the second one as well. It's interesting. I feel like our horror franchises are just weaker like now. I don't really. It feels like we just kind of have continuations of things, less than like new franchise. I mean, there's like Terrifier.
Yeah, I could talk a little bit about that in a second.
Terrifier
is like that's it. Me and Aiden were at the Museum of Moving Image, and they had like Terrifier action figures at like the gift shop, and it was like, oh, it was just fascinating how like quick stuff like that can happen. Where that was like a crowdfunded like little horror movie, and now they get like action figures at the Museum of Moving Image with like next to Frankenstein and stuff like that.
Right.
It's crazy.
No, yeah, that is crazy. And then I watched The Return, also on the hotel TV with commercials. The next day I watched The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, also known as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, also known as Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I've been meaning to watch that one.
There's some different cuts of this movie. I don't know which cut I watched. The one that I watched was definitely edited for TV. So like I don't know, you know what I mean? So like there were already different cuts of the movie available, and then also I was watching it on TV. So I don't know exactly
like
what version
you were getting commercials.
Well, I was getting commercials, and then also like they were like, so like they swear in the movie, they say fuck in the movie, right? But like every time they say fuck, it just like it's like silent when you're watching it.
Okay.
So like it's like stuff like that. So I don't know if they cut out nudity or there were scenes missing or anything like that. So but I really good actually. It's interesting because the reputation of this movie is like the worst one. Is like it's the worst
I know
one.
some people who like I've been meaning to watch it because that's Matthew McConaughey's in that one, right?
It's Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger.
Texas.
Exactly. They're both really good in it. It's like Matthew McConaughey is kind of incredible in this movie. He's like really good. He plays like he's like the chief member of the family in this one. Of the cannibal.
He's crazy.
Yeah, and he's insane. The movie's like it's so interesting because Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger are both like famous actors. But like this movie was shot and they were like very like not very famous people, and then when the movie came out they were both very famous people, so it's like and the gap of during post-production so and they both said like you cannot use our likeness in any advertising for the movie.
Oh wow.
So it leads to this poster. The poster for the movie is so incredible because it's like it's Leatherface but like in the poster it's like Leatherface, but he's like dressed like a woman, and he's like in the corner holding a chainsaw, and it's like I don't think that's the default poster on Letterboxd, but that's like the official poster of the movie.
Okay.
It's a really compelling image. Yeah, the movie's like really good despite its insanely weak reputation.
How many have you seen Texas Chainsaw movies?
I've seen 1, 2, this one, so it's 4. So I've seen 1, 2,
Me and
4.
Kevin were talking about 3D recently, which I like.
I'm interested in that.
Trey Songz is in that movie.
Yeah,
but I've only
Michael
seen
Bay,
that one, and then 1 and 2.
So I've seen 1, 2, 4, and then the Netflix remake that came out. I think it was the most recent one. I've seen those ones. Michael Bay produced like some of the first era of remakes. I think Michael Bay produced the 2003 remake, and then Texas Chainsaw The Beginning: The Beginning. Those are Michael Bay productions for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so I watched that. Interesting franchise. And then I watched Gerard Carmichael's Don't Be Gay stand-up special. I like Gerard. I think he's like a funny guy. I know Kevin's kind of a bigger fan.
Yeah, I think he's funny.
Yeah, he's funny. I loved the first half of this special, and then he kind of devolves into not to do fucking stand-up criticism, but then he kind of devolves into like a bunch of like narcissism like comedy, where it's like all of the jokes were just like, I am so talented and wealthy, and like that's like the whole joke.
Is this the new one?
Yeah, it came out earlier this year. It came out like May of this year.
I never watched this one.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it's worth watching if you like him, but
yeah, I've kind of drifted away from consuming stand-up in the last however many years. That was a real passion of mine, was watching stand-up comedy, even like older stand-up comedy, and now I just kind of don't do it anymore at all.
Somebody posted a clip from this special that I thought was really good, like really funny, and I was like, oh, so then I went on my way to watch the whole thing. And it was fine. And then I saw Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro. I haven't talked about this with fucking anybody yet.
And will come up at a later date on the pod as well.
So I won't say too much then, because we're gonna do an episode on this. We have to do an episode of this.
Also, without giving too much away, I've noticed the shift in negative reactions turning back into positive reactions now, and people are speculating that this is actually in fact going to end up in the Oscar conversation that they previously said it wouldn't be able to get into.
I think this will be in the Oscar conversation.
Okay.
I will not be surprised if it isn't, but I think that early reactions were maybe a little too harsh. We'll talk in depth about what I think about this movie when we've all seen it. I'm curious to see what you guys will think about it. But I think people forget that like all of Guillermo del Toro's like Hollywood era, like post Hellboy movies have been nominated for Best Picture. I don't think that this is going to be an exception to that rule.
So like the campaigner.
Yeah, it's like he's the most likable guy in the whole world. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I don't know. Even if the movies like bad movies get nominated for Oscars all the time, he has like the greatest PR of anybody.
No, literally, it's like he's like a big teddy bear. Yeah, he's like the big teddy bear that loves movies, and every interview, it's like he's like, you watch any interview with him, and you're like, you can't hate this guy, you know?
Did you see him talking about the Oscars? And they like asked him about the Oscar, and he was like, "I found my Oscar," and he was talking about Oscar eyes.
Oh, I didn't see that. No, I saw the
so
of him being like, "Fuck AI" or something.
Right?
Yeah, I did see that as well. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the movie, I'm curious to see what you guys will think about it. I am much not as I like it much more than a lot of our peers that have seen it. I want to go see it.
Shot the movie.
Fucking somebody without eyes.
Okay. Interesting.
I want to like I saw it like at a pretty early screening. And me and my girlfriend showed up late to the movie, like just a couple minutes late. We missed like the very beginning of it. And you
shot your favorite movie, The Gorge.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. And this has never happened to me before. I don't know if this happened to you guys. but like we walked into the screening and this lady like stopped us from going to our seats in the wings of the theater and was like, "Hey, I work for Netflix piracy, and I just want to," and like, and
Netflix
it's like,
piracy.
yeah, and they're like, "I work
We
for
got
Netflix
pirates on the
piracy,"
inside. What's going
and,
on?
and they were like, "And you need to shut off. We're gonna have infrared cameras in the aisles, and you need to shut off your phone when you get to your seat. And if we see like your Apple Watch or anything go off, we're gonna have to ask you to leave." And I was like, "Okay."
Damn.
So
Yeah.
that was notable, but yeah.
Did someone get asked to leave?
No, I think she was lying about the
Infrared
infrared
fucking
cameras.
cameras?
Yeah, I think she
Infrared
was lying
cameras?
about the infrared cameras.
They installed
Um,
infrared cameras at your
yeah,
local
that's what I
fucking
was like.
cinema.
What are you talking about? And so then I watched Pecking Opera Blues in theaters. And I think you guys have seen this movie.
No,
It's really
No,
good.
but I saw that you went on a bit of a run starting with this movie.
Yeah, I kind of went crazy afterwards, or I was just like, I love Hong Kong. And so I watched Pecking Up Opera Blues in theaters. Fucking incredible. One of the best movies. And then when I got home the next day, I watched Throwdown and Running on Karma, which are two Johnny To films back to back. This is like good movies, dude. I don't know. He's like good at making movies. He's just like he's like sick. Yeah. And then this morning I saw After the Hunt.
Right, which we
Yeah.
will talk about in a minute. I didn't watch a ton this week because I've been busy with schoolwork, and I attended a wedding over the weekend, so I did not have any movie.
Congratulations.
Not my wedding, but it was a close friend of my girlfriend, so very cool.
But that'd be so funny if it was.
If it was my wedding and I just didn't
Yeah, and
say
you just
anything about it.
casually like, I
Yeah.
attended a wedding this weekend.
No,
No big
that's
deal.
That's not what happened. It was a pretty short trip. It was like a 2-hour drive down to just outside of Philly, and it was a very fun wedding. But I did not really get to engage. I got to talk about movies quite a bit with some other wedding attendees,
Yeah.
but I did not. Get
You
to
seem like
watch
the
any
guy that would talk
movies.
at a wedding.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What?
What?
You would.
What, are you the guy that doesn't talk at weddings?
Yeah.
So I know I like to listen.
Oh.
Anyway, not much. I had
on his fucking time.
when I was doing schoolwork at
place.
one point, similar to Doug, I just threw on some cable TV and The Happening was playing, and I started to do
That's
schoolwork
crazy.
while The Happening was on, and I just stopped doing work until The Happening was over. So that was one thing. And then I watched Scooby-Doo because I wanted to watch Scooby-Doo. It's almost Halloween, and I was like, gosh, I haven't seen this in 10 years or something. And it's the movies are a lot worse than you remember, but it's really hard to just like not like Scooby-Doo. I don't know. Like a guy like me just enjoys watching the mystery gang solve crimes. So and then last night I went to theaters to see a movie, a new release this weekend that is much bigger than the one that we're talking about. Although not as good.
They're a guy we have Twitter beef with.
Yeah, Black Phone 2 is
Scott.
I
Some people are saying it's good.
some people are, and I don't totally like not see where they're coming from, but because there's like some stuff in the movie where I was like, oh, that was actually kind of interesting that they did that. But it just like doesn't really come together much. It kind of
was throwing me off.
I think the what?
The trailer was. Is there like weird is there like film stuff in it, or is like fake film? Is like
so they shoot like a bunch of stuff on Super 8, and it's like in between. So they have like these like dream sequences in between like the actual story, and they have like these like flashbacks to children who previously got murdered at like this camp, and it's like shot in Super 8 and like kind of. I mean, it like. Again, it's like I'm like he's doing something. I don't really think it like amounts to anything.
Yeah,
but it's like interesting that he did it. It's like interesting in the same way that like Euphoria being shot on VistaVision. You know what I mean? It's like ooh, like this isn't really for any reason other than to say that you're doing it. But like
he's such an interesting filmmaker. He directed Sinister, right?
Yeah, and I haven't seen Sinister, but my understanding is that this movie has some similarities to Sinister, and I'm thinking that those similarities are like the good parts of this movie, actually, because I do think that like some of that Super 8 stuff is like interesting and in creating like an atmosphere.
Yeah, well, that's like the scariest part of Sinister. Is Ethan Hawke finds like a bunch of reels of fucking like 16 millimeter like film of like that family that used to live in that house getting murdered, and he just watches it, and it's like fucked up and scary, and that's like
that
Ethan
like
Hawke is everywhere.
vibe. Yeah. That vibe translates to this movie. I didn't think it was very scary, mostly because I feel like the stakes are just kind of like non-existent. I'm like shocked.
Isn't the grabber not alive? Like what is the
so he's like back as Freddy Krueger, and it's just like it's weird. It's weird. I said it after the movie. I was like, it's really weird. I'm not weird that it spawned a second movie. I know the first one was like very successful, and this one is going to be even more successful. But it's still just like,
it's
I don't know.
Good,
it just feels strange that it's like Black Phone too. Like I'm like, I don't know. Everything about it just feels very like fake and weird.
I didn't see the first one. What does the Black Phone mean?
So there's like a phone in the movie where Doug, have you seen the movie?
I've seen the first one.
Okay, so there's a phone in the movie. Pretty much the kid gets kidnapped by this guy, the grabber. Yeah. And in the basement that he's been kidnapped in, there's a phone hanging on the wall, but the phone's not connected to anything, and it still rings. And the reason why it's ringing is because he can talk to the ghost victims of that serial killer, like his previous victims. He can talk to the kids that he killed in the past through the phone, and the kids help him devise a plan to kill him.
It's an incredibly Stephen King.
You see people getting upset that he's in Fortnite.
Well, I did. Grabber's like a pedophile or whatever.
Right. Which is like also didn't they put Art the Clown in Fortnite?
Yeah.
Like it's like you know what I mean?
Well, they put OJ Simpson in Fortnite.
They did not put OJ Simpson.
That's like yeah. There's an OJ skin.
What do you mean?
I literally like you can't. I couldn't guess if you were being serious or not.
There's no way.
Because like it's like if you are, I'd believe you. You know what I mean?
I'm being so serious. Yeah, they're literally.
Sure. Yeah, I mean you're probably.
What do you mean, OJ?
Anyway, the movie is like weird and
like on the bills.
Yeah.
What? No.
Yeah. Owen, why don't you look this up? The point is the movie's like just not very good, and specifically like the script and the acting in the movie. I know a lot of people have actually been complimenting the acting, which like I guess it's not really the acting's fault, but like while I was watching the movie, I was just like, this is kind of like an episode of Riverdale, except like Riverdale's like fun and this movie is boring. You know, like it's like at least Riverdale's like
directed by a real person.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess in comparison.
You've seen Riverdale?
It's directed by no, I haven't. I'm not saying I'm not.
Okay. I've seen many seasons of Riverdale,
I'm just saying a real guy has made it.
The scenarios presented in this movie just felt like an episode of Riverdale. Like the way that the kids went about the world of this movie, I was like, this feels like I'm watching an episode of Riverdale. Like it was not my favorite movie in the world. Anyway, Owen, what did you watch?
A lot.
Not including New York Film Festival.
I know. Yeah. I know. So last Sunday, I was still in New York, and I had a 3:00 train home. So I saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in theaters, which was cool. I hadn't seen that in a couple of years, and I hadn't seen it in theaters, which was really cool. Awesome, great movie. It's
you said this before.
And you're saying like this 8th best.
Well, that's the thing.
You're saying like the 9th best Toby Hooper.
No. 9th is crazy, but there was a lot of Toby Hooper rankings happening around the time, and it is pretty like definitive. People are pretty definitive on that. Like people are like, that's the best movie ever made. That's like a thing that people say about that movie. And then like
and many people, including some of the people on this podcast, agree with that.
Yeah, I really like it. But I liked a lot of his movies.
Right. Yeah.
So and then on that same day I watched Only Lovers Left Alive, the Jim Jarmusch like vampire movie with Tilda Swinton
Right.
and Tom Hiddleston. Awesome. It's like there's these really great wide interiors, and it's kind of Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston kind of lounging around, being like rich vampires drinking blood out of like glasses and
It
stuff
feels
like
almost
that.
too obvious to cast those guys as vampires.
But it's like they're like so good at it, and they're at the club with like sunglasses on, and it's just like, this is cool. I don't know, it's fun. Cool movie. And then watched Heavenly Creatures, the Peter Jackson movie.
Oh wow.
Peter
Okay.
Jackson. Peter Jackson's good at making movies. Weird career. But that one's good. And then I watched Opera, which sort of thing with Texas Chainsaw. And I had this feeling with a lot of these movies I watched this week, where it's kind of like I watched this movie like 2 or 3 years ago, and it feels like one that felt like not that long ago, but also it's long enough where I'm like forgetting things with these movies. But it's been good refreshers. Opera is so good. Like I mean, it's my favorite Argento. And I think that movie rips. Some really cool stuff, and a lot of stuff that again I kind of forgot, or like it kind of caught my eye. And then Phenomena, same sort of dealio. Forgot a lot about that movie, I think, though, but there's really stunning, like young Jennifer Connelly, who's really great. And then what's the guy's name from Halloween? Donald Pleasance. It's so cool that it's an Argento movie with Jennifer Connelly and Donald Pleasance, and there's a chimpanzee. It's like, okay,
Did you guys
sign me up?
Oh, actually, I guess you wouldn't have seen this, but unless it played before you for After the Hunt, Doug. But there's like a horror movie coming out in January with a killer chimpanzee or like a killer monkey or something.
I did see
What?
this.
No, I didn't see this.
And it played before the Black Phone 2 for me, and I was like, oh, okay. Did you have an opinion when you watched the trailer?
What's going on with the movies?
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Charlie XCX thing? The trailer? It's
did they release the trailer?
Like, for the moment, you mean?
No, it's like fuck. I don't know what it is, but it played before I saw Annie Hall today, and it played before that, and I was like, it gave like Saltburn cinematography.
Oh, the one that she's doing the music for.
Well, she's doing the music for the Emerald Idol movie. Yeah,
Wuthering Heights.
Charlie XCX is doing a movie called The Moment, and I saw a teaser.
No. But there's the other. I know which movie Owen is talking about. It's the movie that looks like Saltburn. I'm aware of this movie. Charlie XCX is like doing or maybe she's in it. Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
like,
I know what movie you're talking about.
We need to get to the
100 Nights of
yes. 100 Nights of Hero or something, right?
Dude, IMDb is awful. Yes, 100 Nights of a Hero. This movie looks horrible.
What the fuck is this? What the
fuck?
It has like a bunch of actors in it.
It's Nicholas Galidstein.
Yeah, and Emma.
Bro, Felicity Jones is in this. What the?
Yeah, and Richard E. Grant, and it is shot in like a TikTok, like everything centered.
Looks like it's like
director,
and it already has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. By the way, I saw this morning that it had 100% with 14 reviews or something.
Like nobody's gonna steam. This is gonna get like a crazy like Charlie XCX stand bump in like ratings. This is I'm happy you brought this up because I did not hear about this at all. This is crazy.
Yeah, I saw the trailer today and I was like, well, because it's been like there's like 900 Charlie XCX movies that got announced, so it's hard to keep track of them. But this trailer really threw me off, and I was like, this is a movie that was inspired by Saltburn. This is like a clear like Saltburn like child.
It's like Emerald Fennell-esque.
Yeah,
Nonetheless.
I was using this movie when the trailer first came out. I was using this movie as an example, like talking to somebody about how many movies we're gonna get that are like Saltburn, and this is like the first domino to fall.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. It has that.
yeah,
It's
that's
like
tough.
very like you could see it. You could see the TikTok edit
Yeah,
like already. Like you could see it's like it's cinematography for the TikTok edit.
yeah. Anyway,
Fantastic stuff. To continue my journey that I went on.
That was not in earnest. Fantastic stuff. He's joking.
yeah.
What?
For clarification.
Keep going. Don't let. Come on, lock in, Owen. Jesus
Sorry,
Christ.
I'm just trying to understand what your kind of your quips and your humor, so I can like understand you as like a human being better. I'm trying to make an effort.
Right.
I watched The Day After. This is a Hong Sang-soo motion picture from 2017, one of the few that he released in 2017. This is
That was funny. That was funny.
I really like this movie. This movie's really good.
What's it about? Can you explain the plot of it quickly?
Yeah, so like this guy, he gets there's multiple women in his life, and his wife gets confused, and there's this girl, and it's
about what?
so it's Kim Min Hee's first day at work, and he's having a secret, he's having a relationship, he has a relationship with this other woman, and she writes him a letter, and the wife finds the letter, but she thinks that Kim Min Hee wrote him the letter, so she slaps Kim Min Hee, and Kim Min Hee's like, "What the fuck? It's my first day at work," and that's kind of, and then the woman who actually wrote the letter comes back, and then Kim Min Hee is in like a car, and she looks out the window, and I don't know if it's snowing but it's like the light goes on her face, and it's a really beautiful movie. I love Hong Sang-soo's black and white films. This is one's black and white, and then I also watched Grass, which is another black and white one with Kim Min Hee. And I was thinking about this. I had this thought when watching the movie. I was the MacBook in the movie. There's the Apple glows, and my Apple doesn't glow.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore. And I saw Where to Land, the Hal Hartley movie, and in that movie, the Apple glows, and I'm like, if you're gonna put a Mac in the movie, you got to get the glowing Apple. And I think
you gotta get a MacBook from like 2015.
I think Continental 25. I don't remember, but I think the Apple did glow, and it's just such a stronger image when the Apple glows, and so that is something that I've been thinking about recently. As I don't know, I've just been like hyper focused on the fact, because I was watching the movie and I had to like kind of do this. I had to kind of do this. And I have to look. I had to be like, hey, does my Apple glow? My Apple doesn't glow.
No, they don't anymore.
And I kind of had like a moment where I was upset about that.
They haven't for like 10 years, I think.
Which is why I was looking into it. And it was like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
But then I was like, so did they? I'm assuming people are intentionally putting, because all these movies I watched were after the stoppage of the glowing. So either it just like happened to be the ones they were using. They're like, oh, we have this old MacBook, we'll use that for the movie. Like, it doesn't have to be. Or did they intentionally go out and get older MacBooks for that glow?
Right. No,
that's the question I'm proposing to Hal Hartley and Hong Sang-soo. And then I watched Eyes of Laura Mars, which is Irvin Kershner, who did Empire Strikes Back and RoboCop 2. And then it's John Carpenter's first screenwriting credit, I guess. I think that's that was not something I was aware of. Or it's his first, like, not hit, like he did Dark Star.
Yeah.
Which is his own thing. But like this is, or I guess
Dark Star, which he was also like literally in college when Dark Star came out.
Yeah, so he did his little like first two movies, but this is his first, like, he wrote a movie and someone else made it. And it's got Faye Dunaway and Tommy Lee Jones and Brad Dourif, and it's like kind of an American giallo, kind of got some De Palma vibes. It's cool. It's you got this fashion photography stuff that reminded me of Blow Up a little bit. totally different movies, but just in terms of like the fashion photography stuff. Enjoyed
It
that.
reminded you of Blow Up in the sense that there's a man taking pictures in both movies.
No, it's a girl. It's a woman taking pictures. So.
Fuck, I'm sorry. Fuck.
So actually, that's not. It was a fashion photography element of it, but Faye Dunaway was taking the photos, so it was different. Oh, but yeah, cool movie. Then I watched Grass, the Hong Sang-soo, like I said, and then I watched Where to Land, the Hal Hartley, which was super fun. So I did the Brattle theater, kind of iconic independent theater. It's a super nice little like it's a one screen, which is fun and cute. That area of the city is weird, but
what borough is it?
It's in Cambridge. It's right near Harvard. It's got all the Harvard stuff, so it just feels like I'm in like a totally different world, and it's just a bunch of Harvard kids in buildings. It just feels like a different city. But cool theater, and cool movie. Really fun. Like feels. I said like 40s comedy. It reminded me of just because of the way that like the locations and the beats and kind of the characters were used. Super fun. And then Phantom of Paradise, another like 2023 era kind of thing. I think I saw it like 3 times in that period, and then it feels like, oh, that was like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I watched that movie last week.
I saw that. Yeah.
Don't ask
really
George Army what he thinks about that movie, apparently.
Geez. Oh man. Love you, George.
And with that, we'll move
wait.
Okay.
Almost done. Sorry, I'm productive again.
No, you're not being productive right now.
Yeah. Well, it's not that you're not. It's not that I care whether or
Whoa.
not you watched a wealth of movies this week. It's for listener context. I sent a message before our recording, and I said, "Hey guys, let's keep this episode brief today. I've got a lot of stuff to do after."
Yeah, we can keep the rest of it brief.
Okay. Well,
I just wanted to say that I saw Annie Hall. I know you guys talked about Diane Keaton passing away last week, but I wasn't here. But
right.
they did.
You were mourning.
Yes, that's why I was gone last week. I had to take like a mental leave. But they played Annie Hall and AMC, and I was thinking, it was such a quick. I don't remember how the time in between when she died and when they put it in theaters, but I was kind of fascinated by how they could do that, and I was like, why don't they just like do that more? Like, why does someone have to die for you to play a movie in theaters? Like, they really were able to put Annie Hall in, like, it's one thing where it's like
what
a rep
are you
theater.
Suggesting?
A rep theater can do that.
What are you saying they should be doing that they're not?
Like, are you saying that like every time someone has like a little like discussion on film Twitter, they should be like, hey, what if we just threw this movie in theaters?
No, but I think like they should just be playing older movies at AMC.
Oh, sure.
More frequently. I mean, like,
yeah, that's obviously like appealing to us. It's not really like a money-making strategy for them.
I will say I was the youngest person in that theater. A lot of old heads were out for Woody Allen and Diane Keaton today.
Yeah, what a fucking surprise.
and they clapped afterward. The movie ended and they clapped.
Yeah.
Really great movie. Great outfits. Okay, I'm done.
That movie works as a better transition, maybe.
Yes, exactly.
Our next movie.
Woody Allen.
We're gonna talk about Luca Guadagnino's After the Hunt. This is a movie that Owen and I saw opening night of New York Film Festival.
Like 7 months ago.
3 weeks ago, a little over 3 weeks ago. Doug is fresh out of seeing this movie, so he has a bit more knowledge of all the events of the movie, but I feel like Owen and I could talk about it. Where do we start with a movie like this? This is Luca Guadagnino is a director that all three of us have spoken very highly of on this podcast.
We all like him to varying degrees. Yeah. We all like him.
Yeah, we're all fans. This was shot by Malik Hassan Saeed. It was written by Nora Garrett, who has not written the last couple Luca Guadagnino movies. It stars Julia Roberts, Io Debris, Andrew Garfield, Michael Stuhlbarg.
Is this Nora Garrett's first movie?
I believe so. I think it is.
Okay.
It's a debut script. yeah, where do we start? Doug, tell us about the movie.
This movie's good.
Okay.
This movie's great. It's a great movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more.
What well, I'm a little scared to tell you more.
No, it's okay. I'm interested in what made you like the movie, because so here's the perspective I'll offer.
I don't know what people don't like about it, so I'm scared to talk about it a little bit.
Okay, so no, but here's the perspective I'll offer that I think is interesting and that Owen probably can agree with, is like when we saw
tell
the
me your
movie
interesting perspective.
Okay, how about you mute your mic for a little bit? When we saw the movie in New York, everybody we saw it with like did not like this movie, and this is also a movie that when it premiered before New York, people did not like. And I feel like over this weekend, upon its like actual release, I have seen more positive reviews of it than negative reviews, and I was like, oh, people, there are people who like this movie. And when I say more positive than negative, I mean like in this very specific vacuum that we live in. But regardless, it made me want to reconsider. So I want to know what Doug likes about the movie so that we could begin this reconsidering process.
Okay. Up front, on like the highest like kinesthetic level, it's like this very like off-putting, or like no, like off tempo, like idiosyncratic like visual like kind of style that I think people that's the only thing I've kind of like really knew before going into it, is that people are bouncing off of that a little bit. It is like, it's a little like unnerving. It doesn't look like a normal movie. It breaks a lot of traditional filmmaking conventions on how to shoot conversations, and among other things. I think it looks really nice. So that's like my first thing, where I was like, this is really interesting. And so a lot of very, very strong directorial decisions are being made in every single shot of the movie, basically. And I found that very not refreshing, but like I was like, oh yeah, I mean, Luca Guadagnino is a great filmmaker. And that's kind of like highest level takeaway from this movie, from like a lot of negative reactions, is like, oh yeah, like Luca Guadagnino is not stupid. I would say that. I would say that Luca Guadagnino is not stupid. I like read like Robert Daniels' blurb, which I hate to name drop like that, but I read like Robert Daniels' blurb where he was like,
they're a publishing critic. That's okay.
Yeah. Where he said like it feels like a movie where like the director bought into the tabloids writing about him, which is to say that he thinks that he's a genius. And I was like, he's smarter. Like Luca Guadagnino is smarter than you are, and that's how I feel about like a lot of the people that don't like the movie. Around like Luca Guadagnino is not dumb. Like he's smarter than you guys are.
I think that's a fair perspective.
I'm scared to talk about the themes of this movie because I don't want to get canceled, because I don't know what people are really negatively
I would like to hear. I don't think I would like to hear your interpretation of the themes, which I don't know that I'll disagree with or cancel you over.
He doesn't know if he'll cancel you over it, but
so like, okay, the main character is the Julia Roberts character, who is a professor at Yale. Sorry, at Yale. Is Yale also in Mass? Or no? Okay, I don't know. Is a professor at Yale, or then where is whatever? I don't know. It's up there somewhere.
Yale's in New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, it's in Connecticut. Okay. She's a professor at Yale, a professor of philosophy at Yale, who is waiting on her tenure, which is important. This movie's kind of nerdy as fuck. like real like academic nerdy. I have to assume that the woman that wrote this screenplay was like really like in this world, like in like higher academia spaces, because like that's the only way that you can care enough about all of this shit to put all of it in the movie like this. Because like literally that is the real central like motivating factor for our protagonist here, is her wanting to get her tenure. And then she has these two assistant professors Andrew Garfield, who Andrew Garfield's character, whose name is Hank, who is like staff, like faculty, has his own office there at Yale. He's the assistant professor of philosophy, and he has a PhD already. And then there is Io. How do you say
Io
last
Debris.
name? Adebri. I always want to add it. I always want to say like Edebri. Anyways, Io Adebri. Or Edebiri. I don't know. Io Adebri. I forgot her character's name, but her character is also an assistant professor, but her character is lower than even Andrew Garfield's character because she is a PhD student. So she's like a sit-in assistant professor to the Julia Roberts character who is working on her PhD thesis. And the central conflict of the movie is that Io Debri's character accuses Andrew Garfield's character of crossing the line.
Yes.
That is the accusation that is explicit in the text of the film. The word rape is not said until the last 10 minutes of this movie. And when Julia and at the beginning, when this is brought up at the beginning of the movie, where Julia Roberts' character presses Io Debri's character and is like, "What are you saying happened?" Io Debri again does not say he raped me, right? She says, "Isn't it obvious? Hank crossed a line," and that's all. And that's all she says, and that's very interesting. I think it's very compelling. And it's very compelling because we are seeing this world through the Julia Roberts character, and Io Debri's character is both a woman and is a black woman, right? In this very like white male dominated academic space. And it's very clear that the movie, they keep saying that they keep saying how white and male dominated the spaces, like higher level philosophy and academia, right? And it's creating this image of Io Debri's character being like outcast, like being like, oh, she's like struggling, like she does, like she, struggling to feel like she belongs there and be accepted in these spaces. But then there's also this force of like the characters in the movie when she's not there are framing her as being like, well, she's gotten everything handed to her actually because she's so wealthy, because her parents are so wealthy that it's been much easier for her actually, and her struggles that come with her identity are maybe not a fabrication, but maybe like overplayed, and it's also interesting. And because I think it's so interesting that we're following this, because we're following the Julia Roberts character, and we never know more than she does. So the Julia Roberts character also doesn't know what the fuck to think, and also the only thing she cares about, because she also like doesn't give a fuck. She just wants her tenure. She wants her Yale tenure. And Malta's also going on. She has like fucking stomach ulcers and shit going on in her body. I don't know. The whole movie's very interesting, and I think it's saying something kind of interesting about how. I was thinking towards the end of the movie, I was like, these are very smart characters, obviously, like smart as in like their capacity to read and write and understand very difficult concepts, right? In philosophy,
like the world around them.
Yeah, like they are obviously very intelligent characters, but it's like they're like the highest levels of us being rational beings acting incredibly irrational. Like all of them are acting so irrational in their own ways. And I think that is interesting. Like going into this space where it's like, like the highest level of academics and like the people that are like playing in there where, because like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, like getting a PhD, like that is like as smart as you can get. And then in this movie, it's like, oh, there's fucking levels to this actually. There's like so many levels to school. And how like everybody's acting very selfishly and very in their own interest and very irrationally, where it's like if everybody was just like a little bit more honest maybe and a little bit more rational, none of this like the bad stuff that happens in the movie maybe wouldn't have happened. It's complicated. Okay, what now? Save me for myself. can you guys comment on any of the things I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. I'll save you from yourself. Although I don't necessarily. You're maybe getting close to going off the deep end there at the end. But I think everything you said prior to the last 30 seconds is of incredible value, and I think so. My perspective on the movie initially was that everything was a little bit obvious, and I think that maybe ignores some of what you bring up about academia or about the nuances of these characters that I didn't think were very nuanced, but maybe they are. But in my head, it felt like the movie came to the conclusion like very early on and didn't add much to this conversation about assault that like again like I felt was very obvious until maybe the last couple minutes of the movie where we learned some stuff about the Julia Roberts character at the end and about her own assault, and I was like, oh, this is like, to me I was like, oh, this is the makings of a thornier movie, except it's at the end of the movie.
An incredible scene that when that
Yeah,
conversation happens.
I did really like that scene. That was really my favorite scene of the entire movie. And I think I might have said this to Owen after, like when we were talking as a group, but I said, I don't know who I was talking to after the movie, but I said that I liked the ending a lot, but that it like felt more like a jumping off point for like the more interesting version of this movie than the one that we got. And I think you might have brought up some parts that I didn't think about as much during it. And I think maybe there's like, I don't know that it's necessarily like a thornier movie than I was giving it credit for, but I do think that maybe there's more to think about in terms of like you said, academia and like how smart people act irrationally and how they think about their pasts and stuff like this. Because as a movie about assault, I felt like on the surface level, the story involving Andrew Garfield, I was like, I know where this is going, and it went there. And that stuff kind of, I'm realizing maybe matters less to like both Luca Guadagnino and like the quality of the movie, or even just the themes of the movie. Like whether or not he did it is maybe not the most important aspect of the movie.
Well, I would go even further and say, okay, like spoilers for the movie, but it's also like not the kind of thing you really spoil. You know, there's not like a big reveal or anything.
Sure.
But yeah, to spoil the movie, it is like there is something that happens towards the end where that does like kind of definitively say like, you know, if you are questioning like, did Andrew Garfield's character rape or at the very least like truly like assaults and like really firmly cross the line with Io Adebari's character, probably, right? That's the answer that I think the film presents you with, is like he probably did. But I think that the bigger thing that the movie's about, which I find interesting and worthwhile, is like it doesn't matter whether or not he did truly, right? Because that is not actually the important part of anything going on for any of these characters, is whether or not he did it. And that I feel like people could find that maybe problematic, right? But
right. And that was like my surface level reading of the movie after watching it, was I was like, oh, this movie is like not super curious about exploring the nuances of that conversation, and it doesn't really like present new information to us about this idea. And in fact, like the only information it presents to us about this idea is stuff that we were talking about a decade ago. And so I didn't like particularly love that, and I was like, oh, this just isn't a movie that I got a lot out of. But maybe there's more to it than that, and maybe you're right in saying that it's really not a movie about those things. Whether or not that means I would like it more if I watched it again is still like, you know, I'll have to see. But maybe these characters are more interesting than they let on the first time that I watched it. I don't know if Owen, you have you'd like to weigh in about that or anything else. But
yeah, what do you think about the movie at all?
Not a lot. I don't know. It's like not one that really has stuck with me or done much. You guys have been in Alice totally, but for the viewer, it's not the ideal viewing
It's a bad movie theater.
place. And I was in row C, which is very close. And I also in maybe I was 107, so it's right to the left. So my view, it's like being a little too close to the IMAX screen, but it's not an IMAX screen. It's and you're kind of I'm having almost a distorted view of the image. Because to me, I wasn't a fan of how that movie looked, but I also don't have the best kind of relationship with the image because it was a little distorted because of my viewing. I don't know, I'd have to revisit it in like an optimal direct line of sight to even talk about the images, because I wasn't crazy about that. I'd be interested, Doug, especially what you thought about the performances, because I was not crazy about a lot of them. But I assume you have a different take on that.
Yeah, well, I like all of them kind of a lot. Yeah. Well, I'm like, my big takeaway in the performances, like, I think that Andrew Garfield is really great in the movie. He's not like in it enough for me to be like, oh, one of the best, you know. Like when he is in it, I think that he's doing like really great work. Right. I think about the scene where they're eating at the Indian food spot. Where he's just like eating while talking, and he's doing all of the talking, and he's the only one that got food. Like, really interesting decision, right? And he's like doing all of like this eating, and like it's Andrew Garfield, honestly, more so than like his performance specifically, as like a bit of casting. I think that he was incredible bit of casting for this character.
Definitely. I mean, he's like beforehand, and he's like kind of like is a light bulb in the room, and he's Spider-Man, and he's very nice guy, Andrew Garfield.
Like this theater kid energy, right? Where that plays in like he's just naturally like a very big performative performer as an actor, and that part brings so much to that role, I think, where he is doing this performance right around all these people, you know.
I think it's interesting talking about him, but even like Julia Roberts, Io Debris, just like people that people really, really like.
Yeah.
And then putting them in a position where you're like supposed to kind of gauge everybody and how you feel about everybody and all that. But like there's that actor kind of element to it. But like, I just really like this person, and I really like them actors. I don't want them to be X, Y,
you're like, I don't want Andrew Garfield to be a rapist. It's Spider-Man.
Exactly. To be a rapist. So there's an element of that in the casting, where, or even like Julia Roberts' character, where it's like, I love Julia Roberts. I want her to kind of be whatever on top or like in the right even is, but like there is an element of that that is a pivotal part of the casting, because if you didn't really, there were kind of unknowns, it would read different, or you would have a different experience with that. Very interesting cast. I wasn't crazy about the performances, but I do think there's that element that worked for me, and that element where it's like, okay, that is Andrew Garfield, and he's like really upset.
I felt. I don't know.
He like is shady. He's like super. It's like Andrew Garfield. I don't know. I feel like you did that shit like definitely. Like
that's the thing. Exactly right. It's like he's because I think that he brings such theater kid energy to everything that he says, where he's dipping the fucking naan in the curry, and he's like, I didn't do it.
Acting.
I didn't do it. You know, it's like, I think it feels like he's acting, right? But that's also, it's like that's his acting style. He's just acting like how Andrew Garfield acts. It's interesting. That's so interesting. I think I think it's interesting on a performance level. But
that wasn't my interpretation, but that's fair. I guess I just kind of like, after when I got out of the movie, I was like, oh, Julia Roberts is like amazing in this movie.
Oh, she's so good.
And everybody else kind of just like doesn't do it for me. And I think Michael Stuhlbarg's funny. I don't know that he's so like I don't know. I don't know that he's like great beyond the fact that he like is a little silly. Like he gets
Come
to like have
on.
I don't know that he gets to do that often, so that's like cool for him that he gets to be funny. But I wasn't like crazy about him, and I specifically like I felt while watching it like Io Debris' character like didn't really lend itself much to performance because of all the things I just mentioned before about how I didn't really think that it was like a character that they totally explore. But when you frame it as you did, which is like we're watching it from Julia Roberts' perspective, it almost makes sense for her character to be as limited as she is, even if that's like kind of problematic.
Well, that's
You
because
know,
again, I don't think Julia Roberts is a good person in the movie. That's
yeah,
where it's like the whole thing
general.
is like this her student that is like that because the whole framing of the narrative is like there's these two people that are very close to her. They're both her like her assistant professor, whatever her assistant professor, and then her student who's an assistant teacher, right? And it's like they care about her so much, right? Like they're fucking like big suck ups, right?
yeah,
And that's how Julia Roberts likes it. And then like when it's presented as like, oh, something really fucking bad happened between these two people, Julia Roberts, the only thing she's worried about is her tenure. That's all she
yeah,
fucking cares about. And she's like,
Yeah.
and so she's like saying one thing to one person. She's going to both of them and being like, I believe you. She's saying, I believe you to both of them.
yeah,
It's like she's fucked up.
yeah. And I think that's interesting. I just like on the performance level, like I don't know that I cared much for either of them. I thought Julia
Mhm.
Roberts was great because like she just gets so much to
This
do.
this is almost certainly. Oh, I haven't seen the Pelican Brief, but like but outside of comedy roles, this is almost certainly her best performance, right? Am I crazy?
I
Whoa, whoa,
mean,
whoa.
that's
Slow.
like I think you're jumping a little
Hold, hold
bit.
on,
Aaron
hold
Brockovich
on,
is
hold
like life
horses.
changing performer. Like Aaron Brockovich is like one of my favorite performances in a movie
Okay,
ever.
okay, 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 okay.
um, yeah, I don't know, and she's also, yeah, I don't know. She's got a long list of movies to
Yeah, that's
make
the thing.
that
She's in
generalization.
200 movies, right?
Yeah. But it's a very good performance. And I think specifically like at this stage in her career, it's certainly a standout. Um yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I think she's probably one of my favorite performances of the year in a movie that like otherwise doesn't have a bunch of them. But yeah, I think it mostly comes down to like the the writing, which I don't think is like bad necessarily. I do think it's like very academic, like you said, and that is interesting, but that means you
That's why I
also
don't
have to
like it.
like, yeah, you also have to like meet it on that level, which is just like a hard level to meet a movie on because 99.9% of the population are not going to watch this movie and be like, yeah, I know exactly what these guys are talking about. And even like I who like, like this is like a
Sure.
philosophy class and it's like I like philosophy. Like I've read like my fair share of I don't fucking know what they're talking about 90% of the time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it's
there
like
is
imagine just anybody
so
else.
much to get missed in this movie. Well, like when like their names are Igmar Bergman references, which is I could
Yeah,
have I picked up on that, but also it's not relevant really to the conversation. Um,
sure.
or maybe it's like maybe something that I just there's something deeper that I haven't noticed about that. But and then also like I think I read something where it's like the paper that Andrew Garfield is accusing Iowa Debris' character of plagiarizing. That paper is not relevant, like it's not instantly relevant to virtue ethics, which then she says is what her paper is about, virtue ethics. So then that becomes like kind of like a you got to really know your shit to even understand that.
Yeah.
And that may, but then once you hear that, it's like, oh, it's interesting, like what, um, because it's like Julia Roberts' character also like did not pick up on the fact that it was plagiarized, and then it asks the question of, is it plagiarized?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh
Who knows
no, who
anything?
knows?
Yeah,
Who
like
knows?
Yeah. I think I like on the macro level, if this movie is like treated as like less of a Me Too movie and more of like making fun making fun of it a little bit. Specifically not even like making fun of it, but like making fun of how people, like talk about this kind of stuff like in movies as well, and like what people's expectations are of a movie like this. And then also just like on a personal level, like how all of this personal conflict gets in the way of like having any serious morals in situations like this. Like, I think if you interpret it all like that, that there's like a very positive reading of this movie. Because I didn't think the movie looked bad. I also sat from a different perspective than Owen. I had maybe a more centered seat in a further back row, but I didn't think the movie looked very bad. And I don't like
I think
even
it
the
was kind of.
performances I said are, I don't like, I think are still good enough. Like,
I'm
I would
surprised
like
that
to revisit it.
Owen. I'm surprised that Owen doesn't like the way that the movie looked. Granted, again, you already explained your kind of compromised viewing experience. But
There's that
all
one
the hands.
scene.
There's all the
Well,
hands.
so I
So
did
many like
like.
Frisson
No,
hands.
I
Like
know, and I did. There's stuff that I liked, like in a vacuum, and there's like moments I liked, but then there was moments that I didn't like, and it. I just I just whatever some reason it wherever Luca does something without Mukti Prom, my viewing experience is much less of, and that's not to say
I
I don't
mean,
know. I'm just
but
like
Mukti Prom is like you can make an argument that he's the most talented like director of
no, I
photography,
know that's what
and
I'm saying.
yeah,
But yeah, I know the hands. I know that was something immediately when we left theater. We were talking about the hands. Um, I'd have to see it again to really make a, and more recently than to discuss it. To have like a full. But I wasn't crazy about this. There's the one scene where they're like at the dock, and it's like Io Debris and Julia Roberts,
mhm.
and that to me looked really bad.
Interesting. I know
Um,
exactly what you're talking about.
she like it looked weird. I don't know, but I'd have to, yeah.
There's
Um,
I don't know. I think so much of it is it's so I think that it's like the whole thing, the way
there's
that it
some
like
interesting stuff though. Like
yeah,
there's interesting like low light stuff, and it gets like really noisy.
yeah.
That's interesting. There's like I don't know, it's not like the worst shot movie. I don't like think it's like horribly shot. I just wasn't crazy about it. And it's like with Luca movies, I'm normally like when Mugti Prom does it, it's like, oh, this is one of the best shot movies of the year. So it just is a little like more. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is maybe not. I don't like that. Um, so but no, I there's some stuff like the hand stuff and certain things that I did enjoy. There was just other stuff that I wasn't crazy about. I do the diner scene where we were talking about earlier with Andrew. I thought it was really nice. There's a nice reflection in the mirror.
Well, yeah, it's I was
Yeah,
immediately thinking about the reflection in that shot, in that scene,
yeah,
too, because there was a shot where it was like literally the background is just the mirror behind them, and they're both talking in front of the mirror. And I was like, that was probably a little expensive VFX work to get the camera edited out of that
yeah,
shot,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Um,
Did you guys? We haven't mentioned other frequent Luca collaborators. You guys haven't talked about the score yet. Is that something that you want to
Oh
bring up?
wow! I remember. So
Yeah.
this is where my brain is with scores. I remember leaving the theater and talking to Teague about, wow, that score was really interesting, and I don't remember. I don't really
Yeah,
remember it. I don't. But I remember there was like moments where it's like really loud and
yeah,
like
I do
and like
remember really liking it. Actually,
interesting like the way that it's in the movie and edited. But I have to have to revisit it. But I thought it was good. I remember liking it. It's just I don't.
Yeah, no, Resner Ross, they're I think that they're like it's funny. I've been thinking a lot about music. I've been thinking a lot about music in general recently, which I don't talk a lot about on this podcast because it's not terribly relevant.
Uh-huh.
But I've just been thinking a lot about music in general. So I've been noticing musical scores in movies like way more than I normally not noticing. I always notice it, but like paying like focusing in on it more. And I think that in my head, I built a tier list, right? And I think that like S tier, like
Okay.
film composers, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
yeah.
like it's Howard Shore, it's fuck, what's his name? Oh my god.
I don't know.
Star Wars.
John Williams.
John Williams. It's Howard
John
Shore.
Williams,
That
yeah.
was so embarrassing. It's Howard Shore, John Williams, and Reznor Ross. I think those are like the S tier.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those are like the S tier film composers.
Shout out Howard Shore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, dude,
Yeah.
Howard Shore is fucking crazy. Every Howard Shore movie sounds fucking crazy. Same thing with John Williams.
Abrams.
Jesus Christ.
John Williams.
But yeah, no, this score's interesting because there's a lot of diegetic music in the film because
true. Yeah.
because her husband loves classical music. Yeah,
that seems so funny.
Yeah. So and then the score kind of blends in with the diegetic music. So you don't always know whether the music's diegetic sometimes. It's that's really interesting, I think.
Is it Julia Roberts who whips her fucking phone across the room?
Yeah, so she's listening to Miles Davis, but then Andrew Garfield's character keeps fucking calling her, and she and it's pausing the Miles Davis music, so she throws her phone.
No, that seems good. That's good.
Yeah.
So after the Hunt, a movie that Kevin would like to watch again out of 5.
Yeah. This is my 2.5-star review of this movie. Maybe is irrelevant after this conversation, which I kind of was thinking this before we even got on the pod. It's also just a weird it's weird to start a movie
Does he have a
New
new
festival with a movie and then
well, he has 7 new ones, but does he have is there one that he's actually moving on with?
Oh, doing next?
Because
I believe Artificial is coming out.
Oh,
next.
Of course, that already shot.
Artificial,
okay.
Artificial.
That's what I was I feel like there was. Yeah, okay. That movie's okay.
That one's real. All of the other ones are
know who shot. Do we know who shot that?
Let's
movie?
look. If
also, I mean, Andrew Garfield. That I'm interested.
Same DP.
Same DP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. Which I think it's Malik Hassan.
No, I mean that's what he's talented. I'm not sure. It's interesting because when I think of ballet, I think of these big color, these blue and that movie that one is so muted and it's an interesting like
Academia is.
No, I know.
But granted, there were neon lights and stuff in the club when they went to the club, and she's
it's the
I
most
love
muted.
She's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, no.
Well, it's that scene so funny. She's like, "Oh, interesting that they're playing this more." Talking about cancel culture being Morrissey, and then Julie Roberts is like, "Oh, I think this is the Smiths," and it's like, "Yeah,
yeah." Interesting. Okay, I'll anticipate those first looks, that trailer. Insane cast on Artificial.
Artificial
has all the people.
So interested in that movie. I mean, I've talked at nauseam. I think it's an interesting story. I think it's a really interesting story. The writer being an SNL staff member gives me some pause. But
but I don't know. I will say
this is the youngest looking 41-year-old I've ever seen.
My excitement for Artificial was not at all affected. Even the second I walked out of After the Hunt, I was like, there's nothing you could really do to not get me still excited for his next movie.
It's interesting. Mukti Pram does not have any movies coming up.
What happened?
Well,
none.
You know what? A guy's allowed to take a break,
No, that's true. Especially after Challengers and Queer, right?
Yeah,
and Trap.
Trap.
Oh yeah, and Trap is
he
had a big.
And I never saw it, but there was
Grand Tour.
Grand Tour was it? Yeah.
That all came out in that same area. So
yeah, you could probably take a year off or something.
He's taking a nap or something.
Yeah. Anyway, After the Hunt, the final thoughts, feelings, emotions.
I really like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Doug summed it up for me, but yeah, I want to watch again out of 10.
I probably won't see it anytime.
Which is that's probably the best possible scenario.
Oh, I did want to I thought it was so funny when it happened in the movie. There's the like Sergeant Rock poster in the movie. They're just like, oh no. It's like so like, okay, man.
Yeah,
what is
that
going
movie's
on?
not happening.
I think it'll be very funny looking back at that in 10 years if that movie never gets made by anybody or gets made by some worse filmmaker, that he just has that poster in his movie.
Luke is so funny because it was becoming kind of a meme, like how so many like Luca movies were getting announced that he was attached to. And it's like I truly, because I think we know, as people that consume this news, understand that a lot of this shit's not going to get made. But it's like I think that he believes that he's going to make all these fucking movies. Like I think that he thinks that he has time in his schedule for all of this shit. But alas.
Okay, let's move on and talk a little bit about New York Film Festival before we get to the news.
Oh yeah, oh wow.
We will kind of just go back and forth here, naming movies. We'll keep it brief on each movie, and if there's a movie that both of us saw, we could, the other one can jump in. I would like to mention award season a little bit, though I don't know that that's going to apply a ton to all of these movies. But if there's a movie that you think is in contention for the Oscars, just throw out which nomination you might be the most excited for it to potentially get. Yeah, me as well. But you don't have to put that much thought into it, but just like, if there's a category you'd like to see it nominated in the most, then feel free to share.
Is there an order which we're naming movies?
No, we're just gonna name movies and go down your list however
the good ones
however
and the
you
bad
want.
Ones?
I'm gonna start with my least favorite one.
Okay,
but that doesn't mean you have to, because
no, we can do that. But we can do that. Sure.
My least favorite movie of the festival was a movie called A House of Dynamite, which is now streaming on Netflix, I believe, at the time of this episode.
Everybody go turn this on and watch that.
Yeah, a movie that like there's a world in which I really liked this movie. I think it's like good at creating tension. I think there's like some really good acting in the movie, not from everybody, but from a particular
who was bad.
Who's bad?
I
will tell you who is great, which is Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca Ferguson is in the first third of the movie, and she is.
Isn't it it's different perspectives of the same event? Is that what it is?
This is the most annoying part of the movie to me. I think the way in which this movie is framed, the device that they use to frame this movie with, it just completely took me out of the movie a little bit. And there are moments of tension created in each section of the movie, but I did not like that. It's pretty much the plot of the movie is that the U.S. Has a missile headed for the city of Chicago, a nuclear missile headed for Chicago, ready to kill 10 million people in Chicago and the immediate surrounding area. And this missile goes under the radar of the U.S. government, so they don't know which country the missile came from. They're trying.
Oh, I thought you said the U.S. had a missile targeted.
No. A missile, a nuclear missile is coming to attack America.
Okay.
And they don't know which country it's coming from. And they have 20 minutes on the clock before the missile touches ground.
Wow.
And they have to figure out what they're going to do about the missile and where it came from. And because it's only 20 minutes until the missile strikes,
the Chicago
you go to a bunch of different. What did you say?
The Chicago make it.
I'm not going to spoil the movie.
Chicago.
But the point is, because it's only a 20-minute sequence from the missile to arrival.
Yeah, you gotta really.
They show us the emergency room in the beginning, and then they're like, okay, we're going to show you this different group of people. Engaging with the same events, and then they're showing you a third group of people, which is in this case the president in the third section.
Who's the president? Is that Idris Elba?
Yeah,
Idris Elba. Yeah.
Well, you know how it is credited as in the movie though, Owen? Can you guess?
The president?
Close. It's POTUS.
Yeah.
Oh,
POTUS.
And Idris Elba as POTUS.
Instagram
handle. Listeners of the pod, if you don't want the movie spoiled, cover your ears. Small cameo when the president shows up from Angel Reese in the movie.
I did know that. I
was like, whoa, Angel. The president goes to a charity basketball event, and Angel Reese
just plays Angel Reese.
What
Anyway.
the hell?
She's
the
like the
movie
president's
just
daughter.
I won't spoil a movie that just came out or is just coming out, but
just
yeah, I
did.
didn't like the perspective shifts. I said I warned them of that spoiler. I don't like the perspective shifts. I think it has like that real like Netflix sheen to it, where it's like you're watching it and you're like, oh, this just like is a Netflix movie, and it's like you're watching a
it's
Netflix
like that
movie in
evil.
in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like Catherine Bigelow, clearly talented. Don't really know what the goal was here. So that's House of Dynamite. Oh, and
what do you think about Catherine Bigelow's politics? Likely, just like assume.
Okay,
like,
so here's
evil?
what I got out of the movie. This is without spoilers. This is without spoilers. But during the movie, I was like, oh, this might actually be very interesting because it felt as though a lot of moments along the way were making some sort of commentary about like, oh, the United States is incompetent a little. Like the US military is incompetent, the US government's incompetent, like they don't know how to handle this. And
it's
then
because
during the Q&A, not just Catherine Bigelow, but every single person like the Q&A, all their responses to the questions were like, it was amazing to work with the FBI on this movie. Like these guys are their jobs are so difficult. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
I was like,
how can you think the FBI are awesome when their fucking Kash Patel is their boss? Like, is Kash
Patel, when was this shot though?
I don't know, but
I guess if this is free Kash Patel.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, maybe that would make more sense. I mean, I think it matters a little. Kash Patel is like the most incompetent person in all of government. Like,
yeah. I don't know. Anyway, the point is like that kind of gave a lot away where I was like, oh, maybe this isn't that complicated. Maybe she just like kind of thinks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Netflix.
We should feel, I mean, she's like maybe she just feels bad about these people.
Down.
Right. Yeah. Anyway.
Owen,
what's your first movie?
Oh no! What does she do now? What does she do?
Hurt Locker.
Black Hawk Down esque movie. Oh, the Hurt Locker.
She did not do Black Hawk Down. She did Hurt Locker. She did Zero Dark 30.
Oh, Zero Dark 30.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Black Hawk Down's Ridley.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Okay, so I saw the Ronan Day Lewis directorial debut, the return of Mr. Daniel Day-Lewis, with also Sean Bean in the cast. We saw movies very late. I think Kevin and me saw a movie at like 8:45. It was like 3 hours long.
9:15 sometimes.
So,
yeah, the start times for the movies this year were pretty late.
Anemone, we saw it at 3 p.m. Yeah. And this was the most time. Like this was like the most I was like, I'm fighting to stay awake the whole time. And it was not really indicative of anything else with the movie. It really weird one. Not seeing a lot of people liking it, to be honest. It's got a 2.8 or whatever. There's like Daniel Day-Lewis monologues in it, and then the rest of the movie kind of feels like a music video with like
music videos. Interesting.
Like there's like visuals. There are visuals, and there are things happening, and then Daniel Day-Lewis is yelling.
Yeah, like, I heard this
not movie, great.
I didn't watch it because you said it was. I could have seen it, but you said it was bad, so I didn't go see it. I heard this movie described as like it feels very theatery, like on a screenplay level. It feels like maybe it was kind of like had some theater design from Inception on there.
Well, it's like I would say there's parts of it, sure. Like it's like Sean Bean and Daniel Day-Lewis like in a shack somewhere, just kind of talking to each other. Like it's very minimal in that way where you could see that on a kind of stage. But it's Daniel Day-Lewis and Sean Bean are in like the middle of the woods, and then it's like these two other characters like back in like suburban town, and the stuff with Daniel Day-Lewis is watchable because it's Daniel Day-Lewis just kind of acting, and then anytime it cuts back to the other stuff, it's like, please, like, get me out of here. Like, I don't care about these people at all.
Yeah, well, Daniel Day-Lewis, like, famously, like, one of the most compelling actors ever. Like,
you watch it, you're really there to see him. That's the movie. And so anytime they just leave him, it's really rough. So yeah, I don't have too much to say about that movie, but that was the worst thing I've seen at this year's festival and last year's festival. If you want to add that, like it's really not that good. It's brutal.
granted, first time, like really young, first time director. So
yeah,
this is true. Interesting vibe from him. Very funny because Daniel Day-Lewis and him go up on the Q&A, and Daniel Day-Lewis has a very specific voice and mannerisms and all that stuff. And then here comes his his American child kind of doing a Timothée Chalamet impression. It's very bizarre. I don't not sure about him. I think he's like 27, 20 something.
He's like almost 30, or like maybe like early. Yeah.
Right. He's pushing 30.
I'll skip over After the Hunt because we just spent a bunch of time talking about it. I don't know. I don't know if we just want to mention new movies, but we saw Restoration of Queen Kelly together.
Yep.
That was
interesting. Really cool. Not a complete movie.
Not a complete movie. I was most interested by like the fact there was like a little section of this movie that I was just like so in love with. And I thought it was like really cute and sweet. And then it kind of like lost me a little bit towards the end. But then I was like once again interested when they ended the movie with descriptions of the rest of his plans for the script. The movie was supposed to be about like 5 hours long. The actual movie is like 90 minutes long. And so pre them making this restoration, the movie would just like kind of end without on like a pretty bleak note. And instead it ends on that bleak note, but then it describes what would happen in the in the rest of the script, which ends up being a little bit more optimistic and positive. And I think that's interesting. Like I think both versions of that are interesting. I think the 5-hour version of this movie would go kind of crazy. Because
that seems to be a thing that is like a reoccurring thing with some of these old silent movies. It's like all of them have like either they were planned to be much bigger, or there's like there's lost footage or something like that. There's some cool stuff in this one though.
There's cool stuff. I was
and
I was really
it is tough though. Just it's a part of the festival, but like late night silent film in the middle of a film festival, it's kind of hard to like.
This one started at like 9 o'clock, I think.
Totally be in it, but
I was pretty into it though. I really was not tired during this movie. And I think it's specifically there's like some parts early in the movie that I thought were like really romantic and really sweet, and I was like, oh, this is kind of awesome. And then it kind of like separates without spoiling a 100-year-old movie, kind of like separates the two main characters. And when it does, I was just like, oh, I kind of just wanted to see them like together a bunch more. And that's when I kind of started to fall out of the movie a bit. And then of course the description for what the next 3 hours of the movie would be involve them being back together, but we don't get to see that. And so as like an unfinished movie, I'm just like, it's good. But as a finished movie,
I was interested on the aspect of they'd used like stock footage of like Africa and like ships and stuff to like kind of fill in some of the holes, which is really interesting because you would notice because it was filmed differently, but it was also interesting to see like stock footage from that time, like super old stock footage of like people just like on the street. So I thought that was interesting.
Right. I'll just jump in with another movie since we both saw that one.
Okay.
Late Fame is really fun. I wanted to watch this movie because this is Sammy Birch's second screenplay. She wrote May December as her first movie. And this one is like also really sharp. Willem Dafoe is incredible in this movie. Greta Lee is also really good. And I kind of like thought that this movie, like filmmaking wise, was a step below just a lot of the other movies I saw at the festival, which I it's not a knock on this movie. I just felt so positively about so many movies I watched.
Well,
but
this is, I think this is his first narrative film, Kent Jones.
Right. He's done like documentaries, and he's like a very famous playwright.
Yeah.
And he's a previous director of New York Film Festival. Actually, he was he was Dennis Lim's boss.
A
while back, and now it's just kind of crazy to think about, like directing New York Film Festival and then going on to have one of your movies play at New York Film Festival. It's a pretty cool thing. that I like I'm assuming only one person in the world could ever say.
No, I mean,
they've
kind of a
done.
sick life, really. Like,
Yeah. So anyway, like in that aspect, I wasn't like crazy about this movie, but I think the script is just so fun, and I really like kind of like the core idea of this movie, and I've been thinking about it a little bit more since watching it, which is that Willem Dafoe plays this character who was like an obscure writer and published like one book of poetry in his youth, and then like went on to have an entire life as a postal worker. And then this random group of like college kids find his book and like find him in New York City and are like, hey dude, you should come hang out with us, like we love your book. And it's such a like, it's such a fat, like he's obviously so much older, but it is kind of like this interesting movie about just like how positively people can, like people who are kind of almost like losers can make you feel good about yourself just because of like the attention that comes with it. You know, it's kind of like a real like what happens if you peak in high school and then like and then you're doing nothing with your life. But you know, if you're like a 23-year-old who peaked in high school and then you went to hang out with a bunch of high schoolers, they'd be like, this guy's the coolest guy in the world, you know? And it's like, it's kind of like that's what it feels like. And then it like kind of rubs off on him in that way, where when he starts to get this attention, he starts acting like he has this entire life that he's lived. And then when he starts to get this attention, he starts acting a little bit differently because he's like, whoa, this is, you know, like not something I ever anticipated. And I think what it ends up turning into is like pretty fun. So I would really recommend that movie for people who like the sound of that. Oh, and what's your next movie?
I saw it's a Henry Jaglom restoration of Can She Bake a Cherry Pie, which goes very kind of along with Annie Hall as like that type of movie. It came out in 83, so later film, but definitely inspired by that kind of very New York. I mean, filmed kind of a lot in that area. Super fun. Nothing crazy, but had a fun time with it. And it kind of inspired some of my kind of my activities and wandering that I did after, because I had some time to kill. Because it just has like there's just shots of things that are just like right there. Really, like, you know, there's the it opens with the Alice in Wonderland statue and Central Park and stuff like that. But yeah, super New York, cool to see it in New York, in that kind of environment. But not too much to say about that movie. I can do another one. I saw This was the two. I saw two Rajude films. Dracula, which was the one I liked less. Interesting movie. There's the stuff that is like just normal movie I really found interesting. The AI stuff is kind of, I don't know. It's it's 170 minutes of movie, and the message.
Did you say it's 170 minutes?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. The message is made pretty early, and then it continues, and there's just a lot of AI in it that like maybe it's just a lot. And there's a very, I mean, he has a very interesting style, and he's got this kind of troll nature to him, but it is kind of confusing because then he was on they did like these like talks, and he was zoomed in with like a Trump on, like he's like Trump's writing like a cat AI like backdrop. So he's an interesting character for sure. Stuff I liked in this movie, stuff I didn't like, kind of mixed bag for me.
He's like liberal Harmony Korine as a personality.
There is a Harmony Korine thing going on. But I did come away with, and I'll get the Continental 25 later, but I did come away with, after seeing two of his movies here, the Frankenstein movie with Sebastian Stan is immediately like one of my most anticipated movies, just because if that's a non-AI Frankenstein movie with an A-list actor, that's going to be just ridiculous, because I really loved these actors in his movies, but I like imagining Sebastian Stan in this world is so fascinating to me. So fascinating. So I'm super excited to possibilities of that movie.
I guess he's A-list, right? Technically.
Yes. Yeah, I would say. I mean, in terms of name.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in like
he's
a main character in the Marvel movies, right?
Yeah, and he was just up for Oscars last year.
That you're right. Yeah.
Like he's an Oscar guy who was in the Marvel world. I mean, it's like
he was like a main character in the MCU.
Yeah, I don't know what else. It's hard,
no,
especially in the landscape of today. It's like I don't know.
You
don't get much bigger than that,
right?
Kevin, you want to say something?
Yeah. My next two movies on my list are both movies that we saw, so we could kind of just tag team these.
Let's tag team them.
Dry Leaf is a movie. I know.
Oh yeah. This movie. Oh man.
This is a 3-hour movie shot on a flip phone. And it looks incredible. This is one of those movies that kind of like what Owen described, for most people would really test your patience. We watched it pretty late at night. It is 3 hours. It is shot on a flip phone. It is not, a typical narrative. It's not a ton of a narrative.
Owen told me I would like this one a lot.
And you would.
It's like a Brockage kind of thing almost.
Right.
And it's very interesting.
I was very impressed by how not tired I was watching this movie. There were like moments, but for the most part, I was just like really sucked into it. And it was just really beautiful. And I thought it had like a lot of super interesting quirks. There's a character. I don't know if I should even spoil.
No.
Should I say it? Okay. There's a character in the movie. One of the main characters in the movie. They're narrating early in the movie, and they introduce this character, and they just go, they just, I forget the guy's name, but they're like, here's this guy. And you're looking at the screen and there's not a guy there. And then the narrator explains, he's like, you can't see him. And for the entire movie, every time he shows up, there's just not a guy there. He's talking,
they're in like the car and they're having a conversation and there's
he's just talking to nobody.
So good. It's so good.
It's really funny, and it's a fun. Yeah, like I was shocked at how fast this 3 hours went by. Like there was there was a lot of people walked out of this movie. And I think specifically the movie's broken up into two halves. And when the movie announced halfway through that it was the end of the first half, a lot of people left the movie. They were like, damn, I thought we were about to be done, and we were only halfway through it. And I thought the second half got even more interesting than the first. And it really like incorporates landscapes in such an interesting way. It's like a movie that uses like soccer fields to guide its narrative, and you kind of go from one soccer field to the next across like the Georgian countryside. And I thought that was cool. I don't know if you want to add anything, Owen, but I
have a lot to add, but I think to go on the invisible character thing, I think when we talk about, I think there's a, the joke online or whatever, talking about like 3 hour, it very feels like that kind of thing of like, I watched a 3 hour movie.
Yeah, 3 hour Georgian movie shot on a flip phone about soccer fields.
But I can't reiterate how, fun this movie is in terms of, and how much like there's the play and like the silliness and it being, it's a work, and it's a these people worked on it for years, and there's a serious nature to that, and it being like a life's work, but it's also like it's a fun movie, and they had fun making it, and it was kind of it's a road trip movie, and they made it with their dad. Their dad's the lead actor, and it's like a guy directed it, and then his brother scored it. The dad stars in it, and they're like uncles in it, and it
was just the three of them. Like that was just their crew traveling across the country.
Yep. And it's just, there's so much of like, we get super, things can be on the outside seem so serious and so like high art or, kind of, I don't know even, but it's like, these are, working filmmakers making this kind of fun
and
movie.
He's like having a good laugh about it.
Funny, one of the funniest Q&A probably. It's super funny guy. He came out beforehand, and I'm gonna paraphrase, but he kind of said like, like I spent years with this movie. I know everything about this movie. You guys know nothing. So we can't really talk right now. We can't communicate about it because you guys don't really know anything about the movie. So we'll talk later. Okay, see you guys later. But super funny. But yeah, I really the flip phone thing is really interesting, and he has made a feature previously with this flip phone. And then he made a movie with like more normal cameras.
Yeah, he also doesn't exclusively make movies on flip phones, which I thought was interesting. You know, like
and it was interesting. He was talking about like he's gonna kind of maybe just do like a back and forth. Like when you do a flip movie on the flip phone, it makes you want to do movies on standard cameras, and then you do the movies on the standard cameras, and it makes you want to go back to flip phone. I thought that was very interesting. But the flip phone and the 144p kind of definition gives this very interesting and kind of singular look and feel to the movie, where you'll have sequences where there's a lot of animals in the movie, a lot of great animals, but you'll have sequences where a black cat will be in the shadow and it will move its head to reveal its eyes, and you will not know that there was a black cat there until it revealed its eyes. And the way that the image hides things and then reveals things because the quality is so low is such a unique experience that you would not get if you were in this like 4K super crystal clear thing. So they're playing on that, and they're creating these images, and there's these sequences that only work because it's in that quality. It totally works in that quality. So that stuff was super fascinating, and hearing him talk about that afterwards was super interesting, and kind of we come into this. There's we talk about Netflix look, we talk about that kind of thing, and there's very much this. You see it online with this kind of, there's this kind of thing now where it's like, okay, I had this kind of thing told to me about like shoot on 6K, shoot on the highest K you can, shoot on the highest camera, the best quality camera you can. And if you want to, you have a lower quality, just downgrade it later. Or really, there's this element of the way that people make movies and the way people work now, where it's like, or shoot coverage or whatever. It's all like, do as much as you can so you can make the choices later, right? And not, instead of make the choice on set or make the choice you really make the choice in pre, right? You make the choice in pre and then you go and do it. But to be like, oh, we're gonna make this movie on a flip phone, like that's the choice, and you can't go back on that. But you're also getting super strong intention of everything because you're making that choice there. When you kind of save it for later or leave it open to opportunity,
just like
you're unable to make really strong choices because you have to compromise to do something like that. So I'm really fascinated by the film. Really beautiful.
This sounds like the fucking sickest movie ever.
It's so good.
Very cool.
And it's beautiful in a way that it looks like no other film anyone's gonna see this year.
Yeah.
So like that's such a really cool to not only see that, but see it in a packed. I mean, people laughed, of course, but like there was a packed theater at the beginning.
Sure. Yeah, it was at least packed for a minute.
Yeah.
The other movie that we both
beautiful
saw.
thing about the New York Film Festival too, as you see, like
idiosyncratic
things that kind of make sold out
theaters. Exactly.
That's what I thought when I saw last year. I saw the Wang Bing movies there, like 4.5 hour long documentaries, and like packed. And I was like, that's crazy. Nowhere else in the world.
Yeah, you're not going to do that anywhere else. It's true. I felt that way about a lot of movies this year. I also felt like there are some walkouts for this next movie that we both saw, The Fence, which I really liked. I was like, I mean, on a performance level, I thought this movie was super interesting.
Yep.
On a screenplay level, I thought it was fascinating. And then especially like visually, I was just like kind of blown away by it. I thought this was Claire Denis in the Q&A was just like awesome. Like, I don't know. I was so fascinated by what this movie is about, which is just like what most Claire Denis movies are about. Like, it is just a movie about colonization and like specifically white people in a place that they don't belong. But the way that it kind of frames it and like positions them and makes them interact in this like very tight space that is, I was told by a friend of the pod, Soren, who was just on an episode a couple weeks ago, when he saw this movie, he messaged me and he was like, I think you'll really like this movie. And I like that they start the movie by telling you that it's like based on a stage play, right? And he was like, I think you'll really appreciate that. And then while watching the movie, I was like, I do really appreciate that. I was like, it is like, it is like a play played out in movie form, and the way that these characters interact with this like very physical location is fascinating. And I think everybody kind of fucking knocks it out of the park. This was like a real, I think I said this in my Letterboxd review, but this is a real case of like, I don't see why people dislike this movie. Kind of like even what Doug just said before about After the Hunt. Like I watched this movie and I knew before watching it that everybody hated it. And I knew after watching that everybody hated it. And I was like, how? Like where? Like point out where that happened.
Yeah,
you're the highest rated person on my Letterboxd, and I think I said this to maybe it might have just been Owen, but like I followed people on Letterboxd that saw it before New York Film Festival that said it was the worst movie of the year. So like,
that's not.
I had a conversation after seeing the movie, but I think it opens and it's like this is based on or adapted from a play. I think it's very crucial to when you're watching the movie because I think the performances, especially Matt Dillon, is super theatrical in a kind of play sense. It's not very. It's not a cinematic. It's like he's performing for an audience, and it's very. I've heard people that's like a negative on the movie is his performance, and I thought his performance was really interesting, especially with that context. And also when you're thinking about the movie, it's called The Fence and it's a play. All right. So there are really two people talking through a fence for most of the movie. Right. So it's like those things in mind, it's like that is what the movie is. And yeah, I did really enjoy it. Tom Blythe.
Everybody's Tom Blythe is
Tom Blythe is a character, is a guy that I was not familiar with his game. I guess I could say that as a phrase. I had only kind of known him for being blonde in that Hunger Games movie. I didn't see that movie, but I only just kind of observed him as an outsider, and I was like, this is a Disney Channel actor that I don't associate with, and I don't really see him being involved in my life. And then I see this movie,
with Claire Denis.
And then I'm very fascinated by this man, and I'm interested. He kind of there's a Joe Alwyn to him a little bit.
He says during the Q&A, he's like, I wasn't gonna pass up on making a movie with
Claire. Which that
a good sign.
You've caught my attention, and I think it's very interesting because the Hunger Games, even though it's the Hunger Games, he's very clean in that. And this movie opens and he's covered in shit, really, and he's got the orange, was it orange, but he's got the vest of he's been working, and he's in his car driving in the kind of musty air and all that, and it's just very specific, and it's like, okay, this is where he fits, this is kind of where he works I see the vision really here. And so I don't know, it's kind of clear clicking on like how this guy works,
right.
So I really liked him in the movie.
My next movie, maybe I want to bring up the thing that we have just kind of abandoned since starting this conversation, which is the Oscars. Although I don't think I've named a movie yet.
No, I don't think
has any Oscar contention, with the exception of A House of Dynamite, which I don't really want to see nominated, so I'm not going to weigh in on that conversation.
I doubt it because it's a Netflix thing.
Right. Well, the next movie on my list is a movie that for me was the biggest surprise of the festival. A movie I really just swore against until I watched it, and then I was like, my bad, guys. Jay Kelly, what a delight this movie was. I could not believe how much I liked this movie, actually. And I'll say something. This is a Netflix movie. Yeah. And I'll say something about it even more positive than that. Like when I look at this slate of movies that I watched, which is just from this point on, from Jay Kelly on, every movie I name is going to be a movie I love. I feel like I'm going to watch Jay Kelly so many times. This is a real No, really, because like I watched the movie and I was like, this really like got to me. Like it really like I cried like 4 times during this movie, and I was like shocked at how emotional I was watching it. And it had some themes that I thought were explored better even in like other movies at the festival. But because there's some movies at the festival that like especially Sentimental Value, like very similar thematically to this movie. But it just like really works in this movie. And like I just really felt for this George Clooney character. And I think if you just kind of like George Clooney as an actor, you're gonna like it even more. And I think it's just like I think it's fun to like make this movie where you position this person that you're really not like you really shouldn't give a shit about like the personal life of a movie star, or like how, you know, like he's the whole movie is about him being like a bad dad and feeling bad about it. And it's like, you know, I don't like I shouldn't really care. But the fact that they like take that kind of profile of a person and make you care, and I'm like, yeah, I do feel bad for this fucking rich like actor movie star. I'm like, I watched them, and it's even more fascinating that you like really relate to this person that you're not supposed to relate to at all. Like there's almost in no ways in which I should be relating to a Hollywood movie star. And I just like felt that the way
you're
that
kind
the
of
movie
somewhat of
talks
a
about,
Hollywood movie star.
what was that?
You're somewhat of a Hollywood movie star yourself.
Yeah, in small circles, I'm regarded as.
Yeah. You're kind of the Jay Kelly
Yeah.
of film
Yeah,
Twitter.
I'm kind of the Jay Kelly of my friend group. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, like the way that you just like kind of feel bad for this guy, and like, and especially like the ways that the movie talks about time. I'm like, it really worked on me. And specifically like in Oscar conversations, this is like a long shot, but Billy Crudup's scene.
Oh,
like,
Billy.
He's not in the movie much, but when he shows up, I'm like, give that guy an Oscar.
Is Patrick Wilson in it, like for a hair?
Yes, he is.
Just a hair, yeah.
Very funny when he shows up. But more seriously, I do think Adam Sandler will get a nomination.
Oh shit!
And I will be rooting pretty hard for that. I really like.
You saw it with a Q&A?
I did, yes, but Adam Sandler was not there. Everybody else was there. George Clooney was there. Laura Dern was there. Billy was there. Riley Keough was there. Riley Keough, so good in this movie. George Clooney is like terrific. I really wouldn't be surprised if this movie gets like a number of acting nominations, and then more specifically, like screenplay just feels like the most thing in the world, and I'd be fine with that. So Jay Kelly, big surprise at the festival for me. What's your next movie, Owen?
My next movie it's a little movie called I Lost It. It's called you want an old movie? You want an old movie or a new movie?
I don't care what you do, just pick a movie.
Okay, I'll do Continental 25. This is the other Rade Jude movie I saw. This was a shot, I think, in between, or like it was around. I don't know if they just had like they finished Dracula or they were in the middle of Dracula, but it was like 10-15 days shot on an iPhone. Stunning. Probably one of the best, like, in terms of compositions and stuff like that, of the whole festival. One of the best. Beautiful, like kind of definitive iPhone movie for me. And like It's like in terms of like if you want to like be like, okay, how like
Soderbergh's made 15 movies on an iPhone, and you're saying this Rade Jude movie is the definitive movie?
I'm not maybe not definitive, but like in terms of like you want to see an example of like what you can do.
Okay.
Sure.
Not even like in like it's not even super formally crazy. It's super simple, and it's interesting. This is kind of the first movie I saw of him, and I was interested by it because it kind of it reminded me of Hong Sang-soo in a way, but very different like vibes of filmmakers and kind of approaches of tone, but like in terms of the compositions and the minimalism of the and the workflow, I guess. But super funny. There's like freaking dinosaurs in it. It's super, but also like super kind of dark and bleak and sad, and Really, really like this one a lot. So yeah, this I've only seen this and Dracula. So I'm gonna make an effort to get around to some of his other work. But I was kind of blown away by a lot in this one. So
yeah. My next movie is Sound of Falling, a movie that I didn't really know much about before watching, and that like really, really affected me. I was like so depressed after watching this movie. This is like the feel bad movie of the festival for me. It centers around like a single location. It's this German farm, and except it goes through multiple generations of girls who are living on this farm and the hardships that they have to face in different eras of German life. And man, it's just tough. It's just a tough one, and it's a beautiful one, and it's yeah, it's really insane movie that I didn't know all that much about, and that I feel like if it had more people watching it would be like super buzzy. Like if there was just any world in which this movie got like a bigger platform, I think people would be kind of going nuts over it. But instead it's kind of just like this smaller movie that I think everybody should give a chance to. I saw a lot of like people comparing it to a Tarkovsky movie. I think that's, I'm not like super well versed in Tarkovsky, but that feels pretty apt. It's just like kind of insane to look at and watch an experience. That was something that the director Masha Shalinsky said during the Q&A, was like that it's kind of just about how the movie makes you feel from moment to moment, and not so much like a narrative or like something that you have to make sense of.
yeah,
And I felt a lot, so it worked. I mean, it is like a lot of the main ideas in this movie are like depression, suicide, rape, like all these like awful things for
jolly baxing.
Yeah, for like 2.5 hours. And you feel it while you're watching it. I mean, it's tough, but gosh, yeah, it's really good. So I would really recommend that people watch that one, because that's like a movie I haven't really just seen talked about all that much. So that's my next movie. Owen, what's your next one?
So I saw the Hong Sang-soo.
Right.
What does that nature say to you again? I don't need to say too much about that one. But really, really like that. I already seen it, but and then yeah, Dry Leaf, Blue Moon was a big one for me. Had plans to see both Linklaters. I made it to this one. But this movie rocked my socks off.
Yeah.
Really, really great. Like one of his best movies. And people
Yeah.
were saying that beforehand. People were like, "This is one of his best movies in years." And I was like, "Okay, I'm excited." But wow, it's like genuinely, if he was like a little more formally experimentally, or like this is a 5-star movie, because it's so minimal, and it's just at this bar this whole time, and I wish he kind of pushed it a little more, and I wish he was a little more risky, because it's so, there's almost an obviousness to the way it's shot, but it's like, okay, it's the right way. It's like, that's it. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just wish he kind of pushed it a little more. I wish he was a little more, but it's so. I mean, Ethan Hawke. It's the script is incredible. It's such an incredible script.
That is maybe the craziest thing you've ever said about any new movie. I just wanted to say that. Like, Kevin, did you hear him say that?
I did.
Ethan Hawke
that was crazy.
Ethan Hawke is.
It took me a second to register that.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke is.
No, I'm taking it all in, and I don't feel at all bad that I couldn't go see this movie.
Man,
I don't at all feel jealous that I couldn't watch this movie.
It's so he talked about it afterwards, but he was talking about how, like, when he was younger, he was always like, acting to him was realism, and like he didn't want to do any roles with an accent, because he felt like that was wrong, or like, I don't know exactly what he said, but it just didn't feel right to do that. It was he was interested in a specific type of acting, and this performance is so large, but also he's so small, He's like playing like he's playing like a 5-foot guy, and but he's kind of he has these like big puppy dog eyes, and he has all this love, and it's really a movie about being left behind, and kind of seeing his writing partner has gone on to write Oklahoma. It's the opening night of Oklahoma, and his writing partner has a new writing partner, and they just wrote Oklahoma together, and now he's at the bar drinking, and Margaret Qualley is this young college girl that he's pining after, that's like 20 something years younger than him, and she's telling him about the boys that she likes at school, and he's listening, and it's just it's like sad and sappy, but there's also kind of a Woody Allen-ness to it. Very brilliant script. Bob Cannavale is the bartender, and he's incredible, and Andrew Scott
shows up.
Andrew Scott has just written Oklahoma, and he's basically having the night of his life, and I don't know. It's so incredible, but it's one of those movies that it's so small and contained, but it hits all their notes. Like it's not very, we talk about like something like I don't know, the Jake Kelly or something like that with all these, it's a big kind of I don't know, it's tough with the New York Film Festival, but even like One Battle After Another, I saw at the same kind of time. That's such a big movie, right? IMAX 70 millimeter. But this movie, it's a one room kind of, but everything is kind of, all the notes are hit. I don't know, it's just really fascinating, but it makes sense for Linklater. It does make sense for him. Really incredible.
I'm assuming you saw like the Ethan Hawke kind of talk about get like this movie. And this is what I was alluding to. I don't remember if this was even on the podcast or it was before the podcast, where I said like, oh, Richard Linklater might be the only normal guy in the world. where Ethan Hawke said like he got the first draft of this movie like 7 years ago, and then he was like, this is amazing.
Maybe longer than that.
Maybe longer. But like Ethan
12?
Hawke was like, this is amazing. We should like shoot it right now. Maybe he said 15 years ago, whatever. And he was like, we should shoot it right now. And Linklater was like, no, let's wait. And that's all he said. And Ethan Hawke said like he got like a few more drafts like as the years went on. But and he said like it was never like explicit, where like Linklater never told him this is what he was doing, but he was like, he just felt like he was waiting for him to get older. And he was so patient and so incredible.
They joke about it in the Q&A, but Ethan Hawke joked about, because it's like the character himself you have to believe that he is, for lack of a better word, unfuckable in the moment. Like you have to believe that Margaret Qualley wants nothing to do with him sexually, romantically. And he's kind of like a little weasel in a little way. And Ethan Hawke joked that like Richard Linklater had to wait for women to want to stop having sex with him. Obviously, Ethan Hawke is very beautiful on that stage and stuff like that. But he did have to wait for him to be older and a different type of actor and kind of grow into it. Because he couldn't. I mean, Ethan Hawke. It's very interesting because he kind of goes in and out of Ethan Hawke isms and the role, and so it's such an interesting character because he's so he has a way with words, and he's so kind of smooth in the way that he's operating, but he's also unable to really get anywhere with anything that he wants, and so because it's interesting when you kind of compare it to some other Ethan Hawke roles, like the Before trilogy, like specifically that first one, where he's kind of maneuvering it through situations and kind of going on this kind of magical romantic kind of experience. And here is an older man who is still kind of have that Ethan Hawke charm, but just kind of being left behind and not being kind of carried off in the wind. I don't know, it's very fascinating, and I think it makes perfect sense, and Ethan Hawke said it in the thing, but like no one else would have cast Ethan Hawke to do this role. Then Richard, like Linklater is the only person who would have been like, Ethan Hawke is the guy for this, and that's kind of why it's perfect, because it's so like there's nobody else would have made that movie. It has that kind of thing in it. So I don't know. I really can't kind of sing the praises high enough. And it is interesting because there obviously he made the Godard movie that I didn't see, but this is definitely a standout for sure.
Yeah. On the subject of Oscar odds, I'm assuming Ethan Hawke is who you would want to see nominated.
Yeah. Oh man, I do think so. I think in general it's been a crazy year for movies, and it's going to be a kind of wild race. I don't know what the dealio on like if he will get nominated or anything like that, but I do think it's like one of his best performances, and he's one of our great actors. So I would hope so, right?
Yeah, he's currently trending in a positive direction and in 7th place in the expert odds.
Okay,
Although
yeah.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people saying he's firmly in the top 5. So we'll see, because I feel like these odds are a little bit hard to read.
It also feels like a movie that maybe not the movie itself, but like it feels like a role that would be an Oscar, like he's playing a real person.
It's a physical transformation. Like
it just feels like
it
feels like something that was like, oh, like if we look back 30 years ago, like, oh, Ethan Hawke won for that movie, that makes sense. Not even one, but like nominated. It feels like that, even though it doesn't really feel like an Oscar movie. It doesn't feel like that at all. It's just the role itself and kind of what he was asked to do. It makes sense.
I think at this point, just looking at the odds, I wouldn't be that surprised if Michael B. Jordan's trending just completely out of those odds, and somebody like Ethan Hawke. Somebody like Ethan Hawke replaces him, because it really does feel like Leo is a lock at this point. Timothy Chalamet is a lock at this point, or maybe this changes when the movie actually gets
crazy.
Leo, Timothy Chalamet, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, you have to assume Jeremy Allen White gets in there on like how things are going. And then it's a real toss-up. Assuming that Michael B. Jordan gets knocked out, it's a real toss-up between Dwayne Johnson, Ethan Hawke, and my long shot I'm going to mention it's not even a long shot. He's 5th in the odds. I'll mention him in a minute when we get to that movie. I hope that he gets the nomination. But before I get to that movie, Miroir number 3 is a movie I saw, a Christian Petzold movie. This is kind of similar to Owen, what you were just saying about Blue Moon, where it's like in a year of really big movies, this is a very small movie. Or I shouldn't even say it's a year of big movies, but just comparing it to big movies, this is a really small movie, but I just like was so in love with this movie. This is the movie that post festival I have thought about more than any other movie, and I don't know why that is, because it's such a small movie, but I think I'm just really on Christian Petzold's wavelength. It has like a 30-minute stretch of the movie where I thought I was just watching the best movie of the year. I was just so caught up in what is happening. And yeah, it's just like, it's like a fascinating little movie. I almost want to like avoid saying what it's about, because it's like such a short movie that kind of just immediately jumps into the events of the movie. So it's easier if you kind of just go watch it. But if you get a chance to see this one, this was like, and speaking of Q&As, the best Q&A I have ever been to, and maybe ever will be too. Listening to Christian Petzold talk. This dude talked for, first of all, I don't know how this was like allowed, but they just let him talk for normally at the festival, there's like a designated 15 to 20 minute Q&A. This guy talked for like 45, 50 minutes almost. Like he never stopped. And it was like so interesting the whole time. I was like, this guy's fucking awesome. So that's Miroir number 3. Owen, what's your next movie?
My next movie is the which one should I? Sentimental Value. You want to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Sentimental. You want to get sentimental?
Holy shit. We have to talk about the Oscars with this one, but
holy shit. Fuck, I don't even know what this.
Yeah. I was like overwhelmed by this movie a little bit, specifically after the movie. I was like, I think the way a lot of people talked about the movie was that it was like a tearjerker, of course, and that's kind of what you would expect, not just from like the subject matter, but also him as a director.
Sure.
But But I wasn't like, I was crying during the movie. I wasn't like sobbing. I wasn't like in pieces. And then after the movie, I tried to like explain how I felt, and then I just like started crying. I was like, this is.
I would say, Blue Moon. I felt so like it's such a weird place to go. The movie, like sitting in Alice Tully, is such a silly, like it's a weird, like I don't know, because that movie made me super emotional. But I was like, it, I'm like, you're very tight in this, like, and it's like it's a serious kind of thing. I'm like, no one will look at me right now. But
the sentimental value, you could hear the sniffles around you. There's just people. For
well,
me, there was
no one
people
else was crying at Blue Moon,
me.
but I was crying at Blue Moon. I was like, But sentimental value, wow, I don't know. You've seen his other films, right? You've seen some of his.
To me, this was
to me, after watching Worst Person in the World and Thelma and Oslo and like recently, like very recently, and liking those movies. This movie was everything I kind of want out of his movie. Like I think it was a clear advancement and step up, and a clear utilization of a higher budget, but also in a way that was not a different movie at all.
Yeah,
like
it's like so him.
He had more money, but it's like the same filmmaker 100%, just able to do more, but not even really more, just like kind of set stuff. Like there's like different sets and bigger sets, and actors that he wouldn't have gotten otherwise. But like that's it. Like he probably wouldn't have gotten Elle Fanning and in the movie. Yeah, but like, so that adds something to the movie. But the real jump really was like the formal jump for me. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that I was really happy with. And then some super. There's so many moments in the film that there's this really beautiful moment where Stellan Skarsgård is like showing this young kid who's like his grandson in the movie, like he's like showing him how to like direct a scene with an iPhone.
That was
and it's I'm
gonna cry like thinking about that scene.
It's so beautiful because he's like teaching him how to use the iPhone as a camera, and then the kid goes off and now he's filming things, like he's filming the trees, and it's the Skarsgård teaching him like this this kid how to see the world, and it's so beautiful. And that like little moments like that, there's so many around, like sprinkled throughout. I mean, we could do 7 hours on this movie, but that I love that moment so much because it's so.
Yeah, I mean, we should probably do a full episode on this movie.
We should. Yeah, but it is my number one of the year.
That's crazy. Damn. I mean, not surprising at all. It'll be up there for me too. I think the reason why we want to go over all these movies right now is because we don't know which ones are going to get a full episode. But
but I think that this one we should like pencil in.
And on the subject of Oscars, this is going to be a Best Picture nominee. This is going to get 8 other nominations. It will be. We will talk about this movie more than once for between now and the Oscars. So,
this is there's 3. I mean, I guess like in the odds, this movie's kind of fallen a little bit as we get further away from Cannes. But it's like, it feels like the story for awards it's been like one battle after another, and Hamnet are like the 3. I don't know if you disagree.
I don't know. Not to like be cheesy, but like it does make you feel sentimental. Like that's like I was watching the movie and I was like. The way that they talk about like the house in this movie. And,
I love a house.
I was like, I'm somebody who grew up with such a strong attachment to the house that I grew up in, and losing that house is like it feels like one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. And watching a movie that like appreciates this location that they grew up in so much, I was just like, dude, this is really getting to me. And like stuff like that, it does just like weigh on you. I will say in the Oscar conversation, there's like so much to applaud, and like obviously, like we just said, it'll probably get like, if not double-digit nominations, pretty close. if I was gonna like root hard for something to happen that feels less obvious than like, duh, it's gonna get Best Picture, blah blah blah. I know how much we love Elle Fanning on this podcast, but Inga Ibsdottir Lilius,
she's really good.
Should just win Best Supporting Actress. Like,
really good.
She is so good in this movie. I was like, I'm sorry, Elle Fanning. Because I remember when we were talking about the odds before watching the movie, we were like, oh, they'll both get nominated, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
maybe they both still will.
Really, like, she's really good, but
it's like,
but I don't know if she's like an Oscar moment. That's the problem.
Incredible. I was like, I felt so strongly about. She's almost like a main, like she almost is just as much as Renata Reinsva is. So like well, you
could also say like there's like a kind of trio of, I mean, Skarsgård's.
Yeah, he's also like a main character. Yeah,
he's so good.
Yeah, and he's also also deserves an Oscar nomination. Renata Reinsva deserves an Oscar nomination. The screenplay better get nominated, so on and so forth. But that was just like a thing that stood out to me where I was like, oh, I don't really know much about her before watching the movie. And I saw that it was like kind of a 2-person race for supporting act. It's her movie. Like, it's like, she's so good in this movie. And she got like, we went to 2 different screenings. I feel like when she walked out for the Q&A, she got the loudest applause out of anybody in the like anybody at the Q&A. People like were going nuts when she walked out. So I feel like that says something about her odds, maybe. But anyway, that's sentimental value. The next movie I'll bring up is Magellan, which is for me. I will say I just think this is like the most beautiful movie that you can watch all year, and it's like probably not close. This is though the case, like the strongest case of what I would deem the festival sleepies for me, which is that this was the second to last movie I watched at the festival, and like that's a long 2 weeks, and like to be watching this late at night, I was just like,
late night Lav Diaz.
Eventually, and they say it like, but when they introduced the movie, they were like, how cool is it for like a whole for it to be a packed house for a Lav Diaz movie at 9 p.m. And I was like, that is cool. I'm sleepy, it's like I'm tired, and then I watched this movie that is like regarded as a fucking blockbuster by Lav Diaz standards, and it's it's a chore a little bit, and not in a bad way at all. But that was getting to me a little bit, and I think visually it didn't impact me at all. Like actually watching the movie, I was like, this is beautiful. But in terms of like what the movie is saying, I feel like I didn't get as much out of it. And then I read people talk, like I read people's writing about the movie, and I was like, oh, these are really interesting ideas that I just like my brain was not handling in the moment.
I avoided some like real in-depth criticism until I've seen the movie, which that's probably the thing I'm most excited for that you guys have brought up, that I haven't seen. But like I've seen some people bring up this idea of like reclamation of history and like creating fictional accounts as a way of reclaiming history, and that's interesting. So
Lav Diaz was basically like, I spent 7 years researching all of this, and if anyone wants to argue with me on the accuracy of it, I will fight you, and I will like argue with you, and I like, this is my opinion, and I've done my hours, and I've spent so much time kind of I mean, you totally like it. I mean, it's a Filipino perspective on this situation, and in the way that like history has been written certain ways and stuff like that. It's beautiful. It's very interesting because I felt when watching this and seeing Dry Leaf and Continental, and I'm talking about these movies being extremely fascinating visually, but also so different. Like those movies couldn't be. You have this beautiful painting move. Like I mean, Magellan is like a painting. It is that kind of like corny, every frame is a painting kind of thing, but it is. And then Dry Leaf is like a flip phone movie, and then you got this iPhone movie, and then Sentimental Value is beautiful, but it's very different movies. So it's hard to kind of. I find myself difficult to kind of compare, even not that it's worthwhile, but it's just everything's so different. But yeah, I really stunning, and just I a type of movie that really kind of scratches certain itches of my filmmaking kind of brain, in terms of the static cameras and the long takes and the kind of way that the image was utilized and the deep focus and really great clouds and moons and there's a glowing that happens. I don't know. You have to see the movie, but there's
the glowing is pretty great.
there's yeah, I know. I've never. This is the first Lab Diaz I've seen.
Same. Yeah.
Crazy Q&A.
It's also like a shorter Lab Diaz movie.
Yeah.
That was very funny. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been advertised as kind of. I mean, not advertised. People joke that it's kind of a short film for him.
Right.
But I definitely have to kind of do my homework. Interesting because his movies are often in black and white. And that was the plan for this movie, and then he saw the dailies and was like, "This is." Actually, we're going to do it in color, which I think is interesting. It looks so beautiful, and I think I approve of that decision. I think that's it's so stunning. It's so stunning.
If the listener has never heard of Love Diaz before, I don't blame you. I mean, I don't blame you. But it's like this movie's 160 minutes long. Most of his movies
it is so long.
Most of his
like
movies are at least 3 times the length.
Yeah, the starting point is like 5 hours.
But it's interesting because they kind of introduced it in that way of like you have they introduced like, okay, you have this Love Diaz movie that's a little shorter in color and has like action scenes, but also has like a movie star. Like it's like
he's fucking great in it.
So good.
He's so good in it.
He's so good. Yeah, I don't know. It's a movie that. It's one of those movies that's like, I can't believe this kind of exists because it's so like Lab Diaz could have made movies for another 20 years. And it's just this specific movie is so it's crazy that it exists. I don't know how else to describe that in terms of the performer and the scale of it. Because it does, I don't know what the budget was, but obviously it's not $100 million or anything like that. But it feels so massive. And yeah, I mean, you got like these big boats and I don't know. It's a lot of movie again, and it's been a bit since I've seen it. But yeah, high praise for that one. Definitely recommend.
Same here. I've got high praise for the next movie, which is what I was referencing before. If somehow, some way, this Best Actor nomination comes through, I will be ecstatic. Wagner Moura in The Secret Agent. Maybe this might sound crazy. Maybe just my favorite performance of the year. I was like, he's so good in this movie, and this movie made me so fucking emotional. It has to do with like cinema, like capturing time and the actual like physical cinemas like as a location, and like the politics of the movie are just fascinating, and the way that like cinema captures time is fascinating and like deteriorates over time, and mixed with like all the political content of the movie, and then it's also just like framed in the most interesting. The whole movie, you're like kind of watching it the entire time, and there's this framing device that you're aware of as like, and you become increasingly more aware of, and you're like, I wonder how that's going to pay off. You're like, I wonder how this little, because it's like, without spoiling it, there's a framing device that has to do with like the more modern day, and it's like looking back at the past, and you're like, I wonder how this is going to pay off, and they keep bringing up these characters in the future, and you're like, I don't know if I really need to be seeing these scenes. Like, I don't know that this is really going to make sense. And then you get to the ending of the movie and you find out how those characters relate to the movie. And I was explaining the ending of the movie to someone, and I started like sobbing. I was like, I cannot believe how much it affected me. And the movie is so colorful and like pretty, and it's just like, you like really feel this place like in Brazil. Like there's like so much fucking culture just like in your face. It's unreal. Like I truly like, I can't praise this movie enough. Like, people have to watch The Secret Agent, and if somehow, some way, Wagner Moura gets like even an ounce of credit for this movie, it won't be enough, but it'll make me feel really fucking good, because like he is just like every second, and it's one of those performances that like the Oscars don't often reward, where he's not like ever doing anything flashy, you know, but there are moments where like there's a lot of like, the movie's also very funny. I didn't mention that because of how emotional it is, but the movie's very like silly and goofy, and there are like moments where every single woman that like comes across Wagner Moura just like instantly is like, hey, do you want to have sex with me maybe? And it's like and you just like totally get it, you know. You're just like, duh, like you see him and his like chest hair is exposed and he's wearing these like 70s outfits, and you're just like, man, yeah, I mean, duh. Like,
yeah.
And it's like one of those, you know what I mean? It's one of those performances where like you don't have to do anything flashy, and the whole time you just like believe it so much, and it, every single beat makes sense. Like, people have to watch The Secret Agent. So that would be my next recommendation. I don't know, how many movies do you have left, Owen?
I don't really have any like real big ones to talk. Like we saw Days and Nights in the Forest,
right?
Which is a restoration that was beautiful. But like most of the stuff that like the big ones, the new stuff, we talked about already. So
okay, let me talk about my big three then. Quickly. I'll keep this. I'll keep this.
Big
yeah, I know, it's crazy. I know there's a lot of. I watched a lot of movies. And these are movies that I think other people will treat as a big three as well. At least two of them. No Other Choice, the new Park Chan-wook movie.
Fuck yeah!
God damn, man, what a fucking picture, dude. I there is just, again, to keep it brief, one of one director. Like, truly, like nobody doing it like this guy. There are like 10 moments in this movie where they happen, and I was just like,
on a formal technical level, he is
Yeah.
like, he's doing things that literally no other filmmaker has the ability to do. Yeah.
Well, it's just that like people wouldn't think of it. Like, I'm just like,
Exactly.
I'm watching it and I'm just like, who thought of this? And then on like a narrative level, I feel like people will, once this movie comes out, people are gonna fucking compare this to Parasite, like no, like they're just never gonna stop comparing it to Parasite. And you know, duh, I fucking love Parasite, but like this movie is saying something that a lot of other movies say in a way that very few movies say it. And like, you know, we've talked a lot about like movies being applicable to the current moment we're living in, and plenty of them are. But like, man, the way that this one does it, I'm just like, it got me. And it is truly, not kidding, probably the funniest movie of the year. Like, it is hilarious from start to finish, that is the last thing I expected. Like, I assumed it would be silly, but like, if you asked me at the beginning of the year if I thought that the new Park Chan-wook movie was going to be the funniest movie, like, it really is hilarious.
This is my most
there's that.
Fucking
It's amazing. Another movie, a little movie you might have heard of, Palm Winner. It Was Just an Accident.
Of course.
Incredible. Also, speaking of like Oscar nominations, No Other Choice, I think, I don't know like how much of a player it is.
Unlikely.
You know, I think it could at least, I mean, it should at least be in the international feature conversation, if not like, I don't think it'll win because
The Lead was nominated
value.
for anything, so it's hard to, you know.
Yeah, it deserves to get in there somewhere. It Was Just an Accident. Also a movie that could kind of sneak into Oscar conversations. I think the place that you might see it the most is screenplay, because holy shit. But like, also, if Jafar Panahi gets a Best Director nomination, that would be the coolest shit in the world. I think he is just like so bold and so unafraid to like really challenge like people with and I don't mean challenge people in terms of like how you know, easy it is to engage with the movie. I mean just like actually challenge like systems of power. It's just like
your values.
Nobody is really like pushing the envelope as much as this guy does in terms of like actually just protesting his government through films constantly. And with this one, it's just like, it's so much, you know, like the plot of the movie is that these people were like tortured by Iranian authorities, like the Iranian military, and one guy finds the person who he thinks tortured him. They didn't see their torturers really, so they don't know what they look like. And he finds this person who he thinks tortured him and kidnaps him. And then in kidnapping him, along the way, goes and picks up a bunch of people who were also tortured by the same guy. And then it becomes this like moral debate of like, should we kill this guy who tortured us? He did the most unspeakable crimes to us. Should we kill him? And like, how does that play out? And man, it's just like incredible. And then the ending of the movie, it's just like, holy shit. I kind of fucking lost my mind at the last scene of the movie. It is, yeah, you're not going to see an ending like it. Which is crazy because the ending of my next movie is also perfect. Kelly Reichardt's The Mastermind.
Oh, yes.
So good. It's so good. It's like kind of crazy because it's so like different in that it feels like you're
so excited.
not watching a Kelly Reichardt movie almost. There's like it's funny because this morning the Louvre was robbed this morning.
Oh, really? I
didn't see that.
Did you guys not see this? Oh, that's
no,
crazy.
I didn't see that. No,
yeah,
this breaking
morning,
news.
Somebody in a 7-minute robbery broke into the fucking biggest museum in the world and stole a bunch of like precious jewels and from the Louvre, and now I guess they're on the run with who knows how much money, probably millions and millions of dollars from the Louvre. And I saw somebody joke about it being like advanced mastermind marketing. And I mean, there's just like an art heist in the beginning of this movie that is like Kelly Reichardt pretty much just being like, hey, I could do what all your favorite directors do just as well as they do it. And then for the rest of the movie, it just like turns into a Kelly Reichardt. And she's like, I'm just going to investigate this character who's a fucking like loser, like a real loser. And speaking of movies about our time, this is a character that is like so reflective of so many people in the modern day, but it has to do with like the 70s and like like the Vietnam War era and like how people acted back then. But of course, politics and our current moment are just cyclical and repeat. And and Josh O'Connor's terrific in it. And this is maybe my favorite movie of the year, though it's hard to decide. But yeah, the people should really watch that one. So that was my big three. We could very quickly talk about some news before we wrap up, unless you guys just don't want to.
Is there anything like super worth talking about?
It was a pretty disappointing.
Let's do anything big.
It was a pretty like slow news week, but I don't know. I could mention it if you want. Sure. There was one thing that I thought you guys would find interest in. It's like a tiny thing, but this is a lot of information. Walton Goggins joins the action movie Painter alongside Amber Midthunder. James Cameron is executive producing, with John Wick creator and writer Derek Kolstad writing the script. And it's going to be the directorial debut of Garrett Warren, who is a veteran stunt coordinator that has worked with James Cameron.
Stunt coordinator.
He's worked with James Cameron on 2 Avatar films, among other movies.
The stunt coordinator. Well, the stunt coordinator to director pipeline is so funny because John Wick is like, that's like that whole thing. Is that where that came from? And it's like the co-directors on that movie who are both stunt coordinators. It's like one of them is good and one of them is evil. It's like, is this new one going to be good or evil?
Yeah.
Chad Stahelski, or is it going to be Sean Levy, or what's his name? David Leitch. Sorry, David Leitch. Is it going to be Chad Stahelski or David Leitch?
Yeah, but there's just so many like random moving parts here because it's a stunt coordinator from the 2 Avatar films. So I was like, oh. And James Cameron is producing it, so it's like,
granted, there's probably so much to fucking learn on set of the Avatar movies,
right? Yeah,
like.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I thought that was like an interesting piece of news that you guys might care about. Other than that, we could just kind of rattle through a couple things. And I thought maybe you guys would have something to say about this, which isn't even really a piece of news, but Lionsgate has started hiring the same editors behind viral TikTok edits to craft their promos, and it seems like
I feel like we've been on that for
Hollywood
a long
studios
time.
are going to start using.
Oh, they
TikTok
already have.
editing.
Yeah, they already
space,
done that. Nothing burger.
They've been doing that for years.
But like more, I don't know.
I think Lionsgate specifically.
Yeah, but like giving jobs to people who make TikTok edits is at least sort of interesting.
Sure.
Anyway,
like jobs, like they have a job at Lionsgate. Is that the specific?
No, they're almost certainly contracted. They're almost certainly.
Yeah, I would
because
think,
that's
I would
already
think
people
like
have been
freelance.
contracted to.
Yeah,
already people have been like, hey, let's. Like
sure, but I just imagine that it's gonna like
maybe it's gonna get more involved.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think it's just gonna grow exponentially as like
just,
the main source of marketing in like a new.
Yeah.
Anyway, then there's just like some casting additions. Eva Victor joins the cast of the new Tony Gilroy movie.
Yes.
Sorry,
have you seen Sorry Baby?
Nope.
Oh,
no, I will. Not yet.
Well,
I will. Not yet. I think I'll like it. I think I'll like it.
I think you will too.
It's
very good.
She's great.
A movie that we already. I don't know if we mentioned this in the news.
Just, I mean, going right back into. Because it's directorial debut and it's she's been such a high praise as a director. It's interesting.
Listen, Tony Gilroy's not directing a movie every year. You know what I mean?
No, I know. It's cool. It's interesting as the next, because it feels like the next move or the next announcement for her but it's a cool movie to be in.
Also, probably like not only, but like working with Pedro Pascal is also probably like a big deal too.
Oh yeah, I mean, no, it's just can't go wrong with any of that.
Okay, I'll skip over some things. Biopic centered on Bela Lugosi is in the works at Universal Pictures. Leonardo DiCaprio is attached to produce.
Yeah, I think the biggest point of this news is it's the same guys who wrote Ed Wood, which is Bela Lugosi is a big part of that movie. It's about like him at the end of his life. I think Martin Landau won an Oscar for that movie or was nominated.
I need to seen the Ed Wood movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's
I was gonna say, have you seen it? Because like everybody says that it's really amazing. Like people that love Ed Wood love that movie.
It's really good. It's really good. So when I hear this news,
did win an Oscar for it, and it also won Best Makeup.
Yeah, so these guys wrote a movie where Bela Lugosi was played and won an Oscar, and it's really good. So all thing in my brain is saying that this movie is gonna be really good. There's rumblings of. So Leo's producing.
Leo's gonna reprise his role as he's gonna play. Not reprise. He's gonna play Ed Wood.
Not Ed Wood. Bela Lugosi. But it's a young Bela Lugosi. But also, what does young Bela Lugosi mean in the grand scheme of things? Because, like, is he 40? Is he 20? Because he played Dracula a little older. So, if he's like 50 or 40, like. Leo could do it. I'm interested in it. I'm very interested in this movie. Like, this is the biggest news of the week for me, by far. As like, this is such an interesting. It seems like a layup of it being really good if like you get a couple more good people attached to it because of I just trust those writers with this material so much, and like because they literally have already done it basically. So and also like I think Bela Lugosi is such a fascinating subject. And such an important kind of figure in cinema. So yeah, this is fascinating to me. I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah. Last piece of news I'll throw at you guys that is something you guys don't care about, but I thought was interesting.
You always say that for the last piece of news. You're always like, "Oh, here's something you guys aren't going to give a shit about."
Well, it's just like I always like to throw in. I like to throw in something stupid at the end, because I'd like to think that maybe it'll get some sort of response out of you that ends us on a fun note, but then it usually doesn't. Red, White, and Royal Wedding, the sequel to Red, White, and Royal Blue, will be directed by. Will be directed by I'm a cheerleader director, Jamie Babbitt.
You remember Luke Babbitt on the Pelicans?
I do.
Next week we're doing Halloween.
This is what I wanted. Like bringing up Luke Babbitt is what the last piece of news is for.
This is our longest episode in 3 months. This is our longest episode since we did F1
hey guys, I'm back.
3 months ago.
3 months is kind of not that long of a time.
It's like 30 episodes ago. It's like
that's like 12 episodes ago.
Fucking shit! It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's pretty late. We're gonna wrap up the episode there. Like, comment, subscribe, rate the episode, all that good stuff. Share, follow us. And next week, episode 138 will remain a mystery for now. There's too many movies coming out inside.
Comment your favorite fruit.
What?
Comment your favorite fruit.
Oh, favorite fruit.
If you've made it 2 hours and 30 minutes.
If you're listening to this right now, comment your favorite fruits.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will see you next week for episode 138. Goodbye.
Bye.